ears, mouth, mercy, might not matter, might not matter, might not ears, might not ears, mouth, ears, mouth, nice, ears, mouth, mercy, might not matter, might not mercy, not matter, ears, might not ears, mouth, ears, mouth, nice, ears, mouth, mercy, might not matter, might not mercy, not matter, ears, might not not matters, might not ears, might not and not ears, mouth ears, matter, nice ears, mouth, mercy, might not matter, might not and mercy, not matters, might not ears, might not ears, mouth ears, mouth, nice ears, mouth, mercy, might not matter, might not and mercy, not matters, ears, might not ears, mouth ears, mouth, nice ears, mouth, mercy, might not matter, might not and mercy, not matters, ears, might not ears, mouth ears, mouth, nice ears, mouth, mercy, might not matter, might not and mercy, not matters, ears, might not
Welcome in, everyone.
Hey.
Thank you all for being here promptly. Wow, amazing. I was just making sure everything was set up and working properly. And of course,
let me get in on the huddle here.
Getting some wine. Cheers. Cheers to another Synth Friends. I think this is episode 14, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't put it on the title. I'll have to double check that later. But that's insane to me. I know we started in like August, I think.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That sounds right.
So crazy. Let me see, make sure our levels are good. How's everybody doing? Sid, welcome in. First time chat. Hard to believe.
That seems better.
I see Mr. X is in the chat. We made sure our satellites were linking up already, so we're ready to bring Mr. X in. Pretty much just making sure everything's working and looking good. So let me pull that up. This is so exciting because obviously Mr. X is someone we know from the Twitch community, so it's like a Twitch on Twitch Synth Friends.
On Twitch.
But Mr. X is also on Instagram, and that's kind of been the theme of our Synth Friends also. So if you're used to Instagram, Mr. X is there as well. Where are all my links? Let me find them. Here it is. Okay. So let's zoom back in. And we'll get this conversation started, shall we? Who knows where this cosmic conversation is going to go. Let's switch our screen here so you can see Mr. X. And make sure, testing, that we have sound. Welcome in.
Hello, welcome. Prost.
Yay! Oh, we've got a cheers moment, of course. Augustus. Always having his wine somewhere mysterious, by the way.
Ooh,
This time it was like
great.
behind the synth on the floor. Like, what? Last time it was behind this Roland over here next to the tape machine. Like, I just never know where he's going to reach for.
It comes
That's-
from being a teenager and always hiding my wine, you know, like from my parents and stuff.
Oh my goodness. Well, I know you, your family is from England and you've spent time there. And you would always share with me how more lax the drinking is in Europe and how that you can drink at a younger age and things like that.
Yeah, my parents were really like relaxed about it, but they, you know, they still wouldn't like want me doing it on my own as a teenager.
And the reason I say that is because our synth friend here for today, Mr. X, who we're welcoming in, who you may know already if you're a Twitch stream person in our community or just around, I'm sure you know Mr. X, is based in Germany, correct?
Exactly. I'm based in the deep west of Germany, and I'd like to say that keeping the wine close to the synths and machines is dangerous because, you know, drinks and electric devices.
I agree.
Well, that's why my wine is always in awkward places, because it's down away from the synths, and that's the only reason why I have it there.
He's in such overprotective mode that it ends up being absurd.
Yeah, I usually like put it on, you know how like speaker stands have like that bottom part where it's like stable, you know, like I put it on top of that because there's nothing besides the carpet that can get damaged.
Oh my goodness.
And you have to lick the carpet so you get the wine.
Exactly. I mean, you know, that's the price you pay.
Talking about synth care right off the top. That's important. I know you have a few things behind you right now that we can see, but you have a pretty massive setup, and it looks very spacious, if you will, wink wink, on your streams. You normally have some like imagery, like I think one of the themes I always enjoy when I'm watching your streams is like actual footage from the International Space Station of space, like that. Like when I say, y'all in the chat, welcome in everybody. When I say that Mr. X is on our cosmic level, like legitimately watching videos of space while he's making space cosmic synth music, it's like amazing. You absolutely have to. And what's so great is we can do a shout out for you, which we can't do for all of our synth friends normally because not a lot of them are on Twitch. So this is a very convenient way for everyone to make sure they're following Mr. X, which I'm sure everyone here is, but just double, triple check that you are, so that you catch his streams. How long have you been streaming? Tell us your stream origin stories.
First of all, thank you so much for the shout out. And to answer your question, I've been streaming since 2018.
Wow.
I started streaming occasionally, I would say. I was just testing out, trying to somehow make the studio a streaming place, because I think that's something that is very difficult when you're starting off. And especially back then, I mean, in 2018, the Twitch scene and the music scene especially was very small. Still, even the singer-songwriters who
You're a
have
pioneer.
a synth pioneer maybe, but the thing is, even back then, the singer-songwriters, the biggest group of musicians on Twitch, still had to find their way. It was a very small scene. You knew the names of basically all streamers by just checking out the scene. It was very, very small. And my streams were basically me just testing out how it would be to stream my music online. Because, I mean, the idea is, like you said it, I do have a few machines, some synths around here, and it's not easy to take them on the road.
Yes.
I mean, it's probably the same for you, especially not just playing on stage with so much equipment, but also like Spark Noise likes to emphasize You need to take care of the gear. You can't just let it stand on stage because we're talking about a few euros or dollars.
Yeah, it's a
And
full-time job to watch over your gear, to manage it, handle
yeah.
it, set it up, and like
And
sound equipment at different venues, all of that.
yeah, and that was when I started to develop the idea of streaming from my studio, basically also catching the vibe that only the home studio gives you. Because on stage it's always a different venue, a different approach that you have, but in your studio it's basically at home, literally actually, in the basement of the house where I live. And I would never get to recreate this atmosphere and these vibes from the studio on stage at all. So it's nice to be able to perform online, and also much more interesting for me, the feedback that I get from the audience, from fellow musicians like you. That is something that I've been missing before. I mean, I've been making music for more than 10 years. I basically started in 2009, releasing first mediocre or subpar recordings, basically. Very, very cheap stuff, but it still attracted people on MySpace.
Oh,
But
MySpace.
only when I started to stream on Twitch and get to know scenes like the Golden Shrimp Guild, basically the biggest milestone in my streamer career, that was when things really got interesting.
I agree. Same for us. That was a pivotal moment. And I know that Bardic was probably it's hard for me to remember exactly. I remember Bardic joining our streams, and I remember you as well. And Actatech and people like that, who, Toto especially, like just very like overwhelmingly nice and helpful and supportive, but also like actually doing stuff, like having, like, everyone has like very regular streams and very regular like communication, you know, like it's very serious. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, Bardic Perspiration, like I once said, he's the Boba Fett of Twitch, basically.
Yes.
Because he always has a way to find the newest streamers, the newest synth streamers on Twitch. I don't know how he does it, but he gets all the really cool people. And it's so funny because you find channels with 10 followers or less, with super high camera quality, great sound quality, and
Incredible.
the studios they have.
Wow.
It's absolutely amazing. And Bardic knows them all.
It's so cool. I mean, I love that reference. Obviously, we talk a lot about sci-fi on our stuff, on our streams, and Star Wars specifically. And obviously, Boba Fett's got his own thing going now. Pretty hardcore. So it's a great reference for him, and I love it. He's like out at the leading edge of the galaxy, like finding these people in their prime, just plucking them from obscurity and bringing them into the folds, the warm embrace of the Golden Shrimp Guilds, which also sounds like something from sci-fi.
Speaking of Bardic, maybe a little foresight to the next year, because he lives not too far away from me, and we are planning to do a jam session sometime next year. I hope that it will work, and nobody knows what will happen then, but I'm absolutely looking forward to this.
A collision of cosmic proportions.
I mean, I feel like that, just imagining between like the two of your sounds, that would be really cool. I mean, whatever's gonna happen, it's gonna be cool.
Ooh, I can't wait. I want to see that as like a real event, you know, once you guys kind of sync up and figure it out. Like,
yeah, basically not just him.
Right?
The idea was that a friend of mine from Cologne, basically the biggest city near the place where I live, is a professional musician in jazz groups and also with his synth stuff, combining acoustic piano and modular synths in a very interesting way, somehow using microphones and then bringing the signal into his synths. But he has a rehearsal room in Cologne, and then the idea was born, why not trying jam sessions in this room, inviting shrimp people and other synth players who aren't on Twitch from the region where I live. Basically, Spark Noise is the one who lives closest to where I am, just behind the Dutch border. Not trying to dox him here.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's so close together basically. But funny thing is, the first time we met was in Berlin this spring at Superbooth.
Oh, well, what a
And
great place to meet.
yeah, and that's the idea of getting those people together in Cologne and having a group jam session, maybe 4 or 5 people or so. The other
Fantastic.
shrimp people that we are having there are DHXP Music, who you might know from Synthon. He lives in
Okay.
Cologne actually. And his cousin, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Yoshim. I just write it down in chat
Oh,
so that
cool.
everybody knows.
Thank you.
And they basically are the core group of people I'm trying to get together to jam. Basically, Golden Shrimp Guild Europe meet up, so to speak.
Sweet. You heard it here first, everyone.
Mhm.
Secret meeting of the shrimps.
Secret synth meeting.
Secret synth meeting. Oh, that's so cool. I mean, it really proves like how awesome the Shrimp Guild thing is and how awesome the synth community on Twitch is, because we all do, like, we're doing this, like, it's all very real and people want to meet up, and that is a very common theme of like, how can we start meeting up? Like, there's real legit variety in what people are doing too. So like the idea of people being able to come together and collaborate, like just more collaboration, I think is going to be so cool.
Absolutely.
I mean, the most interesting part that I love about the synth scene is that you see most synth streamers have similar equipment, like
Uh-huh.
303s or something like this,
Sure.
drum machines of all kinds who basically have a similar sound, but still you won't find any style twice. There are similarities
Exactly.
between some, but everybody does their own thing, and that's a great thing about all of this.
I
I love
love
this
it.
so much.
I love it too. It is. It's like a full spectrum rainbow of every little micro variation you can imagine, and it's all so inspiring and unique and authentic.
Well, much like you said about the early days of being on Twitch as a artist, as a music artist, I feel like the idea that you don't hear the same sound twice. I don't know how long that will last.
Ooh.
You know,
Grim Reaper
with-
has come to town.
within our own community at least.
Ooh.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
he's waiting to hit the saturation
when
point.
the punk rock, was at its height, like I feel like there was just so many bands that sounded the same, and like I feel like even with house and like techno back in the 80s, like that definitely happened. And I just feel like we could potentially see an era of that, and it would be interesting to see. I mean this honestly from like a positive, like
give me the positive. Explain.
It'll just be cool to see what styles end up being sort of prolific.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Scene.
I see. Things are going to start to sort of codify, and like they'll become like,
that was a terrible way of getting at that. I'm
into
so
the
sorry.
mainstream.
Like that was really bad.
But don't you think ambient has become that? Or like whatever.
Well,
I don't even know what that. I don't know.
Sure.
That's like a whole portal of a conversation we could open.
In a way, yeah.
I think
you're
about
getting an apartment.
I think about like the sketch comedy people make about synths and streamers, and like there's just a sense that it's techno or ambient. And I think that why we love the Golden Shrimp Guild and what we're all talking about here is that like we've all been out there doing it, regardless of what it seems like is going on. We've all been out there, and now like there's this place, and we've all found each other, and it's like proving our own intuitions true that like this sort of like electronic music is for everyone, and there's like no boundaries to it, and we should all be just exploring what we find about it is like the way to bring Star Wars back in.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I think it'll be interesting to see if stuff starts to really sort of like,
Well, I think what you're trying to say is that you're kind of used
homogenize.
to things have a wave and a popularity, and you're like used to things coming and going, but you're like always gonna stick around.
I'm interested in what ends up being prolific out of an era. I was saying this earlier that
Out of an era. I was gonna say, because I feel like the whole synth idea is already prolific.
I feel like the like
Synth
sort of the Dallas improvisation, synth modular thing that we all know it when we see it. Like I just think that is a scene in itself, and it'll be interesting to see like what artists
take that, because
sort of rise to the top, if you will.
Shall we call you Mr. X? I don't even know like what your preference is about.
You can call me Mr. X, but you can also call me Wolf, basically my half of my
Right.
real name.
Right.
But what I wanted to say about the genres is that as far as I've seen it, basically two big genres are out there on Twitch. At least that is what the non-synth streamers say. It's ambient on one side, techno on the other.
That's basically
that's basically the two genres that people from the outside, it sounds so distant, but those people say, okay, either the stream is chill out music, relaxing, that's the ambient stuff, or basically the powerful and danceable stuff like techno. Not that you can't dance to ambient. I mean, that's a Brian Eno topic. Yeah, of course. You should see me dancing when you're streaming, but that's why the camera is best turned off then. No, but I like to see the reactions of people who aren't in the scene. I mean, we are in the scene. We basically know, we hear 3 notes and we know right away where the thing's going to go sometimes. But like people who only know or who mostly watch singer-songwriter streams, and then suddenly they see a stream like mine or like yours, and then they start to think, ooh, synth stuff, blinking lights, space, and they say, okay, it's ambient. It's not like the genre nerd, would say, okay, it's Berlin school, or this is West Coast sound or something like this. But they say, okay, it's chill out ambient. And it's so funny because
agree, yeah.
Yeah, it's just those two genres, ambient or techno.
We've talked about this before, where we are all using the tools that we have, right? Like we have to use hashtags and we have to use certain ones because that's what people are going to type in. You can't just like make up a hashtag that no one's searching for. Like, what's the point of that? So we have to kind of like blend that, like always wanting to be clear in what we're saying we're doing, but also referencing what like an entry point that people might be looking for or already know or want. Because like there's nothing worse than being like, we're making electronic music, and then like people are like, but what does that mean? Like what's the vibe? Give me a vibe check is sort of the whole thing, right? So I think ambient is almost like it's a vibe at this point, and techno is a vibe. It's like genre is something more maybe for the metadata, and we're all calling it genre, but it's really just vibe. That's my theory.
I've literally said exactly the same thing. Like I remember like in the kitchen one day, like, I was like,
I'm just absorbing what
there
you're
are
saying
these two
and
styles. No. I'm not talking about
I just think
you.
That's funny.
I'm saying like I'm agreeing with
Mr. X.
Mr. X, exactly.
Pick a name you want to use for him, because you have some options.
I know. I was like going through them.
Yeah, Danielle. People don't usually dance to ambient, and we all disagree with that, obviously, and with what ambient even means. Sorry.
Well, plus, like I think that one thing that I would say that makes us and some other acts that I've seen do this as well, unique, is that we sort of like bounce between the two.
Yes. Talk about what are your ranges that you like to play with, Mr. X?
Well, the funny thing is that when I say I like to play Berlin school, it basically keeps all doors open. So Berlin school can be drone, it can be noise, it can be the ambient most people know, it can be some kind of techno, it can be trance.
That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the tricky part about it, but for me it's like, I mean, Tangerine Dream, Klaus Schulze, and
of course,
all those 70s bands from Germany or 70s artists. That kind of vibe, basically. You hear the bass sequences going, you hear ratcheting going on, something that apparently not many people use nowadays, maybe because it's rather difficult to get. But this is the kind of style that I have, the 70s classically inspired electronic music, but still there are other elements. Like just recently, I think it was yesterday, after watching your opponent's stream some days ago, I thought, why not try to add some house elements into the music? And just trying to see where that goes. Basically, the classic 4/4 beat, not so interesting in a rhythmical sense, but still good enough if the surrounding and the other voices and the sequences are all right. And the funny thing is that your opponent really showed how you can take house to another level and play absolutely fantastic music, which basically changes every minute. I mean, it's so funny to see that he, with his, it's no small setup, a lot of modules, much more cables than I probably can see in my studio now, and he keeps the music changing all the time. It's a constant flow, absolutely amazing to hear. And I thought, why not add this and try it on stream? I mean, that's what I love to do, is before streaming, during the sound check that I do before I start streaming, I start to program the sequences. I start to program the drum tracks, the initial drum tracks, which basically change during the stream, of course. And that's all. And the rest you hear in my stream is basically improvised on the spot. And that's why sometimes it has a nice flow. Sometimes it's a bit more stop and go, so to speak. And yeah.
Oh, Hayes is rating. Thank you, Hayes.
We have a very similar way of working, Mr. X.
Agreed. And also thank you, Sheldon, for the follow. I saw you. I know you like to I know you love the attention, but I'm not gonna say your full name. Thank you, Hayes, for the raid. Welcome in. More friends. Friends of the Synth Friends universe, basically. Thank you, Danielle. We have so many people we could shout out. This whole stream could just be like a shout out stream. Like, we need to shout out your opponent. His Quiet, welcome in. Also a synth friend. Your dream is to see a whole crowd of folks dancing to ambient once in your life. Oh, we can totally make that happen. I feel like we could do some like ambient like variations on a theme like we've been talking about. Like somehow in one of these like meetups that we're trying to conjure. But it could be in like a big open field and like everyone can dance.
Basically Burning Man, but it's all just ambient.
It's just ambient. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. Because like for me, like hanging out in a space with people over several days so like doesn't like, let's just do a couple hours, guys, and go eat lunch. You know, like I just want to make sure I can go eat lunch. And then just go home if I feel like it, you know? Like I come and go. I like boundaries.
Having lunch or just going to get a meal and then you escape.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that could also be part of it. It's like I don't want to feel confined to a certain space.
Just keeping up appearances, you know.
I just feel like it could go very open and very broad, this idea. But I do want to say that His Quiet, I think that is a very, very reasonable goal and dream to have.
Also, one thing about Hayes, because Hayes is one of the people who influenced me to get a square pyramid.
It's going around, I hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's always sort of interesting with Squab because the Hapex, of course, the latest big MIDI and whatnot controller, is basically making the rounds. Some people from Twitch already use it, and I could try it at Superbooth this year. It's a super intuitive but also complicated at the same time machine. And but what I wanted to say is that Hayes is basically one of the driving forces who got me to get the Square Pyramid, which I still need to dig deeper because it's not that intuitive, I would say, but it's super powerful. And I mean, you could ask Hayes in one of the future interviews or so, and he could talk about this for 2 hours, I guess.
I know. I feel like we all have like the kind of gear conversations that are had now are on like such another level because it's not just that you're like, oh, I've been testing this out in the studio. It's like I use this on stream, like made stuff with it live. Like that's such another level of kind of having an experience with a piece of gear and like how it works in that situation where I have found that it's like almost impossible to replicate what it's like to actually be live on the stream. Right? Just like the variables, the liveness of it all. It's something else. It's its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, there are two ways or two main ways of basically getting to play a stream as far as I experience it is either to have a rather loose stream and test out the equipment, try some things, and also telling the audience that it's just a test stream.
Exactly.
Test just meaning I'm trying equipment. Or the performance stream, something that I do most often is that I have the mindset that basically when I start the stream and a raid comes in, or I have one of the few streams where I stream without a schedule, that as soon as I switch the scene to the studio view, I know, okay, now it's showtime.
Yeah.
And the performance must roll. And I learned this when basically streaming a lot more on Twitch. Like I said earlier, I tested some things in the early days and then started to develop this kind of mindset of performing. Actually, it's not just I'm standing in my studio and playing my synths like I would do if the camera was off.
Right.
But I really have this performance sense, like, okay, there's an audience watching and now I have to deliver to a certain degree. I mean,
totally
I'm not
agree
sure.
with you. Yeah.
How is it for you? I mean, you're two people, of course. How does that work? Ooh, hey.
I mean,
I was waiting for it.
I'm a fan.
I was like, why is he being so quiet? Oh, because he wanted to do a prop moment.
I was like, I gotta flex it. But yeah, like I love this thing, man. It's
Hayes
great.
is
This is
getting
an
nervous
ad.
now.
Pay us. No, I'm just kidding.
It's perfect. I mean, I use the Squarp and the Octatrack mainly for like sequencing, and of course the Buchla stuff. But like that all, you know, like sometimes I'll use the Squarp to sequence the Buchla. Sometimes I'll use the Octatrack to sequence the Buchla because I have a MIDI converter, you know. So it's like I kind of I like swapping around my sequencers.
Ooh, you heard it here first. Celluloid Propaganda, welcome in. You have the Hapax on the table next to you, working on learning it while you watch the stream. Oh, how cool! What a good use of your time.
Thing I like about the pyramid is that it's rock solid. Like they got it 100% figured out. You know what I mean? For the most part, like
this is an official review now, by the way.
The Hapax, I feel like, you know, that might be solid in like a year or so, but you know they're still figuring it out.
Well, Celluloid Propaganda will let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, we have many people in the Shrimp Guild, like the entire robot or cowboy, as he is known mostly, who really is basically part of the reviewing group of Squad.
Right. I was gonna say I was trying to get.
He's constant.
Go ahead.
Please, you.
I was just saying I was getting Gus kind of set up with Discord on his phone today because I was like, I feel like you're missing a lot of good stuff. And you could be having these conversations faster. So I was trying to get him set up, and you're right, there's a good discussion thread in the Shrimp Guild Discord, right? Is that what you mean? Or is it on someone's specific server? Okay, in the Golden Shrimp Guild, I'll have to show you that. I don't know if you're in there as yourself.
Basically, the results are posted there, but as far as I understand it, is that the entire robot is in constant correspondence with Squab or with the development team and giving feedback for additional functions and things they need to develop more. And I really like this because, I mean, let's just say Bad B, Behringer.
We call Behringer Kenneth on this stream.
Yeah, I like to say Bad B, but
like
it's
that.
like when they release a product, you won't get the chance for much feedback. Maybe during their development process, like they sometimes ask on Facebook. I mean, asking on Facebook shows what kind of PR level they have. But no offense, but at least they ask people, what do you want to have in this synth, and that synth? But after the production started, it doesn't seem like they want to get the actual feedback when people are testing and playing the devices. And that is something I find sad, because that's where the real fun starts. I mean, suddenly they cloned the 808 as the rhythm designer RD8, and all of a sudden released the Mark II version of this drum machine. By just saying, yeah, we improved the chips so that the sound is more original. I'm not going to comment on this, but I think it's so failed, because the development process is more or less open, so you can comment on what you want to have, but then the door is closed, the production begins, and they don't care much about what happens then. I mean, I hope that they won't sue me for saying this, but
this is
This is
all opinion. This is not,
Yeah.
verified. This isn't co-signed by anyone. It's just random conversation. Blah-bitty, blah-bitty, whatever.
Let's just say that the only Behringer like synths and drum machines that I have are stuff that like I'm like, oh, I have to have that. Like, I don't have any other way of having that. You know what I mean? Like, I have an RD9 and a TD3 because I am not paying the price for the real version.
Ooh, this is controversial.
And I don't really want the digital version because that's just not my style. And so, like, the only thing that exists that really fits the bill for me are the Behringer versions. And I do believe that they're like, they're like kind of like the, made in a different country, like clone,
Oh, like Fender guitars.
Yeah. It's like the off, like version, you know what I mean? It's like slightly off, but like still pretty good enough, like versions of those. But there's so much more in the ballpark than I would ever, go with my own finances. Plus, I just wouldn't want to use something that old, like in, improvisation, like I really like to be able to like kind of pound
I like all
stuff.
This rationale. You guys all hear this rationale?
I
like
pound
it?
on this
We
stuff
agree with it?
and like want it to like do the thing, and like I want all the chips to be like modern, like
Sure.
I don't want to mess with like 40-year-old chips for my like sequence.
I feel like you could hear a pin drop right now in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I do have a lot of Behringer stuff because it's inexpensive. Yeah, I mean,
the truth comes out. Look, this is
Yeah,
hear it here. I'm telling you, this is like synth gossip. This is what it is.
yeah,
You're gonna
it's
hear it
synth
here
gossip.
first.
But the fun fact is that maybe I wouldn't call myself a supporter of the corporation, of the
Right.
company, but I buy their stuff, and so I can shit talk about it because I know the experience.
There you go. You want to
But-
be authentically shit talking. That's fair.
Yeah.
I like it. That's a
But
good one
the
too.
thing
You guys
is-
have good rationales.
The thing about it is that some people say, well, the Behringer synths aren't stage quality. You can take on tour. It's not that stuff. The knobs are flimsy or something like this.
Ooh.
I mean, okay, fair enough. If you treat your instruments like Keith Moon treated his drum kit in the 70s or 60s,
Right.
okay. But I have to admit, the stuff works. The sound is all right. I mean, the MS1, the clone of the Roland SH101, I think,
Mhm.
is one of the workhorses of my setup because this bass sound is something
It's the sound.
it's the sound. You could realize it with some modules, of
Oops.
course,
I love that.
like the what is Intelligible Atlantics or no or Atlantis or something like this. Sid Heresy had one of those ones. You could get the sound with this module, but back then I thought, okay, I need something more in my setup. Back then when the setup wasn't as big as it is now. And I said, okay, it's okay price-wise. the quality seems to be decent, and the
Right.
sound, which I saw on YouTube videos and all of that stuff, I thought, okay, it's nice, and I bought it, and I realized this is the 80s funk machine, funk bass.
Mm.
That was my first impression, but when I developed incorporating the synth into my setup, I realized this synth is absolutely stunning for those driving bass sequences, and I
Wow.
knew it's going to last and it's going to be used a lot. And basically, there is no stream without any bass sequence.
Mm. I
It
love
always
how this
comes in sooner or later.
conversation went from absolutely shit talking to being in absolute awe.
I mean, the difference becomes apparent also on Facebook when people discuss on the Behringer side. The
Yeah.
products are all right, and people say, okay, if you are okay with the brand,
Yeah.
buy the products. The only thing that really sucks is the PR that they are doing.
Sure.
Those super unnecessary comments where I don't know if it's Yuli Behringer himself
Sure.
or his PR team, when they are trying to be Elon Musk and
Sure.
throwing shit at other people. Like,
Yeah. It's not.
when
It's like just be quiet. Just be quiet.
you
It's
know,
always-
I don't know if you saw this, but recently when Moog re-released the Model D and
Mhm.
announced the production of the original
Yeah.
new old synth,
Yeah.
what did Behringer do? Did a post like, you don't have to spend $4,000 or $8,000. You can buy our Model D. And I thought, guys,
And it's polyphonic.
yeah, the Poly D is polyphonic and the Model
Right.
D is just the rec version. But I thought, why do you do this? I mean, everybody who wants a cheap Mo clone buys the Model D. You don't have to rub it in their faces like, oh, we have a Model D here. Take this.
Shut
Totally
up and sell your
unnecessary.
synths. I like that,
Yeah.
Hayes. Shut up and just sell your
Yeah.
synths.
Absolutely right, Hayes.
We're already shame buying your synths. You could just you know?
And I see Peter Unit says, I've got a Neutron. I've got a Neutron too. And this is one of the few original or more or less original
Just
synths
keeps
of
going.
Behringer. Yeah.
Dude, the what you were saying it's like it's kind of like you always know the devil exists. You're like, I mean, I always know that
Yeah.
evil Behringer clone is there, just waiting for me to hit that buy button. I can't wait until they do. It's great tour gear, you know. Like
That's
you
what
were saying,
you were
like,
saying.
yeah,
People don't
like,
want to bring it on tour. That's the opposite
no, it's
of what I would
perfect for
think.
bringing on tour because like I like kick that shit into rat piss and like be like, oh, hey, let me get that out, you know. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you know, like I probably bought the
Oh my
extended
God.
warranty or whatever. But like, I hope
So
they
now
make.
we are gonna do a collective scam on Behringer. Is that what
I
you're
hope
saying?
they clone the tip top bookless stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So that like I can redo my
Oh
case.
shit! I feel like why don't we try to get Behringer to do something good? You know what I mean? Like they're already at a scale, right? They've got some manufacturing capabilities. It seems some engineering capabilities. Let's get some space pods going. You know, let's get to Mars. Let's you know what I mean? Let's really do something here. Cloning
Yeah, I
synths, I
mean-
don't know.
I mean,
You got a point there.
developing this thought, you might. I mean, we talked about the film. If Behringer would go forward and try to do something like SpaceX and exploring space, then it would be the Wayland-Yutani company, and we know the story, what happened then.
That's
So I'm
true.
not sure about this, but
I want to
um,
get in a Behringer spaceship.
Wait, Yuli
Yeah.
does seem kind of Elon Musk-like anyway.
No,
so
but just the idea of like 199 is like when I think of Behringer, I think 199. You know what I mean? Just the idea
Yeah.
of like they'll try to make the price as low, as psychologically low as possible. And I just feel like if you think about a Behringer, the 199
Behringer
Behringer spaceship, you know what I mean? Like you're like, I'm gonna get in the Moog spaceship, okay? Because like I trust these circuits more than I trust the Behringer. The knobs are flimsy on the Behringer spaceship, you know?
yeah, I mean, the aspect of taking those synths on the road, or basically people who said that they aren't made for road shows or concerts and gigs, it's
Like the
these are only
quality.
single opinions.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was the quality or if the sound just doesn't give what you need, but
Mhm. That doesn't seem
I
right.
mean,
I feel like that doesn't
yeah.
seem right.
It all depends on the PA anyway. I mean, you can have the best synth, and if
Yeah.
the PA sucks,
This
the
is
synth won't
again
sound good.
like it brings us right back to that whole point that like streaming on Twitch is so great because we get to like have this stable environment and really develop a good sound for the audience, you know, because we want people to have the best audio quality experience we can have. Spider. And that is it is such a challenge on the road for a small synth act, if you will.
Synth act.
So I feel like the streaming at home thing, like honestly, like the idea that a thing happened that's very, very terrible and we are like very sad and mad about it, but like everyone is more accepting of this idea now, which is helpful when you're cultivating community online. Like it's a lot easier to connect than it would be if we all had to go to Superbooth or we all had to go to, oh no, give me another one, Mogfest. I don't know, I can't think of another one right now. NAMM, there you go.
Nopcon.
Nopcon, sure. Like those are amazing experiences, but it's not like it's sort of like the outlier experience, and it's, you know, the accessibility idea. And I think, you know, sometimes I do want to bring up the fact that Behringer does make a lot of stuff accessible for people, and we do like that part of it. So
Yeah, I mean, please.
No, I think I was just sort of rambling on that and trying to figure out where I wanted to go with it, because I don't know how much credit I really want to give them for that. But it is something that people bring up. They're like, hey, I probably wouldn't be into synths if it wasn't for Behringer. And like now I'm like playing with VSTs and like I'm building community and like all of these things. So this is why we try not to gatekeep. But I do feel like it's just sort of a way to make it seem like put a positive bow on something that's sort of complicated.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for people who really can't afford any more expensive gear, I would say, so they can get the sound and try something. And some started their careers basically by buying a cheap synth and expanding their ideas on this. So it's not
some
bad.
of our favorite things are these sort of thrift store, you know, discoveries, or something that wasn't currently being used in a professional way, like wasn't considered the now thing to be doing.
Thank you for bringing that up, because like something I have said before is, you know, when I actually first bought the Behringer RD9, for example, and the TD3, was that like I had always heard the rumors that those instruments, the Roland versions, were, you know, you could pick them up in pawn shops for very little money. And that was what made them sort of prolific in the scene in the 80s, like house music and techno. And I sort of like I almost felt like I got to get that experience from buying the Behringer versions because of the low price. Like I got to have my own like almost like pawn shop experience picking up, you know, the RD9 and the TD3 at the prices I did. And it was part of the fun for me, because it was like not much of a gamble.
This is the most we've ever talked about Behringer.
To get these instruments, and like now I have them, and I was able to like put them to work and do the fun shit that those artists did when they first got them. And it was like a whole thing, and like it was really magical. I'm gonna cry right now.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like I felt like I really got to have that experience at like a time in my life where I really needed it. So, you know, like for me, like that's what Behringer did to me. Like it doesn't matter necessarily like
this is turning into
all
like
the politics behind
long
it.
form like pro Behringer speech. I'm not here for it. Oh my god.
But
sorry,
I can't deny that is my experience.
The spider was like way up in the back corner of the ceiling.
It
is like down at our feet right now. It got here so fast, and I just don't want to have it.
Do you want me to go take care of it?
And I think it's going to be caught up in all the cables and wires now. Yeah. This stream is not sponsored by Beard. Thank you for putting that in the chat. We need that officially in writing. Yeah, I do think it's funny that the wobbliest knobs were on the Roland. That's funny.
But it's true. I tried or I tested one of the Roland, I don't know what it's called, the VPO3 or something like this, basically the boutique version of the string machine. The
Gus is
the one
currently
of
trying to kill a spider, so I apologize. I did
yeah,
not ask him to do that.
I killed spiders on stream before. It's
No way.
bloody, but sometimes you have to do it.
Sometimes
But
you
what I
have
wanted
to
to say,
I'm
the
so sorry.
Roland, those Roland boutique synth really have absolutely
It's
wobbly
either a
keys.
good hider
and a-
or a got. I don't even know.
That he says that every time. I'm so sorry. This is our guest is trying to say something really interesting, and we're being like so lame right now. Okay,
Sorry.
let's come back.
Yeah,
The Roland
sometimes-
VPO3. Got it.
Yeah, the knobs are so wobbly and flimsy. I mean, I saw some videos, it was years ago when the thing was released, and I saw some videos and thought, okay, the sound is nice, but I have to test the synth and see how it goes, or the string
Mhm.
machine actually. And I went to the music store in Cologne, which is actually called Music Store. It's a big ass
That's
music
awesome.
outlet. And I saw it and was surprised because it was so small and the knobs and sliders were absolutely flimsy. I really
my
had
God.
to pinch the sliders to move them, and I feared to break them. And I thought, no, this is not going to work because slide it too hard and the thing breaks, and then, yeah, the shit happens. And
This is why we would say you would think Behringer would be great for the road, because anything vintage, anything that you really care about, you're not going to want to take out with you. So yeah, I think you just proved that point again.
we're always getting back to bad B.
Exactly, I know. But yeah, there's something about things that you want to further the advancement of the sound you're creating. And if your options are something you can afford and something you can't afford, it's like, do I want to keep going with this idea that I want to propel, or do I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, it gets very interesting when you are into modular synthesis because there are I would say, regular synth users who have those complete synths like a Moog Sub 37 or, I don't know, a Juno or something like this, who just say, I want to have keys to play, some knobs, some sliders, a simple interface to get to the sound and to manipulate the sound instantly. But of course, if you go into modular synthesis like Eurorack or Buchla or something like this, you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
You know what kind of sound you want. You don't go ahead and just buy a VCO, a VCF, and a VCA and say, okay, that's it. Basically, only those who really don't have an idea of modular synthesis do this. But I mean, if you really get, okay, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I think that's a bit too simple because you need to have a plan. And I'm so nerdy when it comes to planning a modular rack. You know this website modulargrid.net?
Sure, yeah.
Fun fact, I talked to the guy who actually runs the website at the Superbooth without knowing, because he always was talking about modular grid and how the website developed, and I said, yeah, I really like it. I think it's based in the USA. And then he laughed and said, no, I'm the one who runs the site. I live in Berlin. And I said, oh, okay, good to know. But the thing is, I use this website sometimes for weeks to plan and lay out racks that I want to realize. And when I think, okay, that's it, then I go ahead and order the parts, order the modules, and assemble everything, like all the stuff you see partially in the background, like my sequencer-driven Moog combo, cloned Moog combo, not getting back to bad B again. But but I think that's the basic difference, because some people are happy when they buy a Korg mini log or something like this, have some synth sounds, only use presets. No shame. I mean, that's how I started as well. But they say, okay, that does it for me. That's the synth sound I want. And then there are, of course, the module nerds who say, okay, I need to have, I don't know, 3 VCAs to somehow interact with each other or so. I mean, people who say VCAs are for volume only, don't really know what a VCA can do.
Okay.
No
I
comment on this.
wholeheartedly agree.
Is that
Yeah.
something people are out here saying?
I've
Not
literally
on Twitch, but sometimes.
I've literally posted threads on Modwiggler in like the Buchla section saying like is the saying you can never have too many VCAs not a thing in Buchla? I disagree. You know, like but right now I have like a more minimal amount. Like I did have like 10 in my system and now I only have like 6. So that's a lot for Buchla though. Like the Music Easel, for example, only has 2. You know, like most systems have 4. To have 6, I think, is like still pretty extravagant in Buchla world. But yeah, it's because there are so many uses.
I mean, if you do it right, you could have a setup with VCAs only and do some kind of no input mixing.
That's
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Exactly.
the modules would be exploding at some point, but who knows?
That would
Right.
be part of the experiment.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I've ruined a few modules like doing feedback, but it's one of those things where you just pretend like, oh yeah, it always worked like that.
I mean, it starts to get critical when smoke comes out of the modules, but that's a different story.
That's a whole nother level of making electronic music.
The smoke show.
Yeah. So we know that I was actually surprised. I didn't realize you've been streaming on Twitch since 2018. That's really impressive. We've obviously only been doing this year. This is our first. We haven't even hit a year yet.
And you're already the superstars using Buchla. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I only hear good things about you, great things about you.
Wow. Well, I appreciate that. That's nice to hear.
That's really nice to hear.
Wow.
That just made my holiday.
We definitely feel humbled by that because honestly, like every single time I tune into a synthon, I'm like, holy crap. Everyone is so impressive. And that is, I mean, we've been around the block a few times. Just a few. Been in a few different communities. Been in a few different scenes. You know, you do your best to get excited about everybody's stuff. But this is like genuine. Like I actually really think everyone is so talented and doing such cool, fun stuff. It's just
I mean, the really stunning thing that I realized on Twitch that it's not just about the music, but also the kind of stage show, the visuals, and also the stuff that you can't really do on stage, like those interactive visuals that wouldn't probably work as well as it does on Twitch. And I saw it especially when there was this visual arts festival where Bardic Perspiration again was the driving force, because he also uses interesting and really detailed visuals.
That's true.
I mean, I only have those space videos because I really suck at graphic stuff,
but it's like so smart when you're like, that's not my thing, let me just do what's going to be good, you know? I think that's wise.
Yeah, I mean, it works best with my music, this kind of spacey stuff. Or back some days ago when we watched Space Odyssey.
Yes.
With the Jupiter and colorful scene, I don't know, the transcendental passage, I would say.
There you go. That's what it is.
Oh yeah.
And this would basically work with my music, I think. But I have the poor man's version, just NASA videos showing the Earth.
So
cool.
And
what I would like to do is to actually add the NASA live stream with the live camera view from the ISS.
I love that.
But the sad part is they always cut those live interviews in between the space footage, and I don't want to have people talking about.
We need to send a letter to Congress and say, hey, can we get uninterrupted space footage, please? Can we get a stream channel just of that? And then you can have a stream channel with the interviews, and you can have the footage if you want, but we need just uninterrupted.
Yeah. And it's for our ambient music.
And it's for our ambient music.
We'll be honest.
Well, I saw an image yesterday from, I think it's the Artemis 1, I think, that went to the moon. And there was that shot of it coming back around from the dark side of the moon, if you will.
Pink Floyd.
And you could see a little tiny Earth in the background. It was so cool. Please, more alien footage. There is often a separate feed. Danielle said there's often a separate feed, Mr. X.
There is, Daniel. Please give me links.
Like, Danielle, do this work for us. No, but if you
I
have
mean,
the inside track, please let us know.
Yeah, because this would be awesome. Like, it's always the same video I'm showing.
Oh, is
And
it?
yeah,
It always feels different to me because of the music. You know how our brains will do that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is that the video itself is like 12 hours long.
Oh, that's why.
And it is convenient because I don't have to care about keeping
Yeah.
the videos different. I can just let it play. And okay, the downside is that sometimes you have those landscape names, like they have to say that this is North Dakota or something like this. And I thought, okay, why? Because nobody could actually see this and you could just have the fancy picture, but no, they had to add the text.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a downside, but better than nothing.
I think
also
it's
the
great.
Resolution, of course, you need HD videos because low quality videos just don't work.
It's gonna keep getting compressed as it goes out to people.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to start as high as possible. That makes a lot of sense. I think collaborating and doing visual stuff is like the next frontier in streaming, in my opinion, in terms of doing things more live without the latency or without these issues that we talk about, right?
You say you have to start as high as possible. That made me think of Sid Heresy, but that's something different.
Dwogers in the chat, balloons and spaceships. Thank you very much for making your presence known.
I think a lot of that has to do with the type of everybody getting on the same page about like high-speed networked audio technology, like Dante, or Maddie or something like that. Like, I think the higher speed, everybody can stream their own audio will, help
make it possible to do more collaborating
for you to do like collaborations.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I'm not helping to do that really.
You're not working on that project for humanity.
It's all really expensive. Like right now, that's
you're like everyone should get the highest quality audio gear possible. I'm not going to, but everyone should.
Well, I think that's just goes to say like how far we are off from being able to do like real time over the network.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's the next frontier. That's why it's a frontier. It's way
a frontier
out there.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it's the first time that
I think we'll go to Mars before we can all have no latency live stream collabs.
Possibly. I mean, there are ways to try to have those remote jams. And again, Spark Noise was the one who told me about this with this app called Jamtaba or Jamtaba or I mean, it's the idea is good. Well, and if you have music that doesn't change too much, it doesn't have many harmonic changes in the music, then it can work. Like the classic that often was proposed on the Discord of the Golden Shrimp Guild, that one person plays drums or has drum machines running and the other person plays pads, slowly moving music. That might work, but I had a test jam with Spark and it was nice to try, but the thing about Jamtaba is that I think you have a difference of 8 bars or 16 bars, super long, so that the latency gets basically balanced out and you really can't have melodic changes. Like the easy stuff was with this vintage sequencer where you can basically set a switch and then you add a step or you reduce a step. And just as I went from 3 steps in the sequence to 4, I saw Spark in the chat writing, "Oh, what did you do now?" And basically it threw him off somehow. And I thought, okay, you can't really tell somebody, okay, now I'm changing and you will be able to hear this in 16 bars or so because nobody starts counting the bars. And as much as I like the
No.
idea, but the experience itself was a bit frustrating because you can't get a decent jam. It's just music moving in and fading out again. I think that's a Radiohead lyric or so, but um, and it just didn't work for me.
Yeah. That's why I think it's the next frontier, because we can't quite figure it out. No one has like, I'm not hearing people throwing a lot of good ideas out, but I hear a lot of
I mean,
desire for it.
there is Endless FM. Also, a lot of people behind this project are active in our synth scene,
Yeah, I'm not
but I haven't
surprised.
tried it myself. I saw that Notes
Yeah.
and Volts, another great streamer,
Mm-hmm.
somehow produces a controller he has in his massive studio setup so that
Uh-huh.
he can easily uh yeah, use the functions behind Endless FM. But as I said, I haven't tried it myself, and it might be something that would be better, but it's all a matter of testing and trying and
Yeah,
seeing where
it
it goes
is.
and how it works.
Yeah, I see the hunger for it. I see people talking more about it and like trying more things, and so that to me says like it's right out there. It's coming. It sounds like it's still, yeah, it's a good idea but needs some work. It's like something that everybody is looking for, as we realize that like despite whether we're all traveling or not, like we're all gonna have time when we're not together, regardless of how much that is, and we'd still want to be able to have it be easier to connect. Speaking of, like, when you started streaming in 2018, so much of the functionality that we have that makes this happen wasn't even there. So like even just a couple years ago, like things have been moving really fast and getting better faster, I think.
Yeah, especially the streaming technology. I mean,
Yeah.
back then, the main camera everybody used was one of the Logitech cams, the rather simple webcams,
Mm-hmm.
basically, with nobody expecting something like the pandemic happening and that video
Right.
calls would become so much more important. The
Right.
quality was decent for the time being, but the main difference uh, became apparent when some singer-songwriters started to use Sony cameras, the mirrorless cameras with nice lenses and especially high prices because the lens was mostly more expensive than the camera itself.
Mm-hmm.
But even in 2018, the video they had was so amazing. There were some singer-songwriters who really had a cinematic quality,
Wow.
like a streamer who isn't active anymore, Sierra Eagleson.
Hmm.
She's basically posting her videos on YouTube, but she had a stunning video quality. The music was great. It was folk music, simple
Mm-hmm.
piano or acoustic guitar, and she sang. But the visuals were so great. Like you saw that the lens was really high
Yeah.
quality and the image had a real depth to it. And this was something so new to Twitch back then because people had simple webcams,
Yeah.
simple quality, and this was the game changer that some people realized, okay, it's not just somebody streaming from their bedroom or so. This
Mm-hmm.
is a high quality studio stream.
Right.
And it raised the bar. And luckily, people try to get there and basically improve their quality. I mean, I did as well. I started off with a simple Logitech because it was super cheap on Amazon back then. And I thought, okay, that's the starting point.
Sure.
I mean, the idea of streaming first became apparent when Sunny Halla, a singer from Finland, I mean, I can write her name in chat,
Oh, sweet.
when not sweet Finnish. Oh, bad pun. No,
Ooh.
but actually, she was the one who started playing and singing on Periscope. It was an app
Mm-hmm.
connected to Twitter some years ago,
Yes, I remember that.
and I realized that her music was too good not to just have it played on Periscope, which had a
Uh-huh.
low quality, actually low video quality, low sound quality. And her boyfriend and I said, okay, there's this website called Twitch. I knew Twitch back then only from gaming
Yeah.
streams and watching other people play Minecraft or something like this. And somehow the idea became apparent you could also play music on there.
Right.
And she started sometime later and skyrocketed all through to partnership easily, more or less.
Wow.
And then she basically said, why don't you try streaming from your studio? Because I only posted some photos back then on Instagram of how
Mm-hmm.
the studio was evolving and maybe some new devices I was getting. And she said, why don't you try it? And that's why when the Logitech webcam was so inexpensive all of a sudden, and I'm
Sure.
not sure if it was at Black Friday or so, I said, okay, I buy it and then I just try it. The first streams were absolutely test bed environment. I
Yeah.
mean, back then I only had one. It was a mic stand actually, which I simply added the camera on top,
Sure. Yeah.
and I had to move the camera around by hand by just
We
putting
were
the
doing
mic
that
stand somewhere
too.
else, so
Yeah.
that
Totally.
you have different perspectives. And now,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have three cameras basically all showing the same, but from different angles,
Yes, I love
and
that.
still it adds to the vibe.
It really does.
Definitely. I mean,
I love the setup. What cameras do you have?
I have one Sony, the one I'm looking at, Sony Alpha 600 or 6000, something like this. It's not in production anymore, but I think the Alpha series is never ending anyway.
Okay.
And the stock lens that is on there is good enough for the studio use, because especially when there are few lights or the lighting is low,
Yes. Mhm.
it still works great. And the other cams, the side ones, basically, you can't see it on here.
Mhm.
These are two Elgato face cams. I mean,
Mm.
I had the Logitech
Sure.
until recently, when I updated my streaming computer to
Yeah.
Windows 11. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, Logitech cameras weren't recognized by USB
Oh.
anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, but still, the camera itself is an old system, so it
Sure.
was time to update. And I mean,
Always
those
something.
Elgato face cams, they do the work, they do the job,
Right.
and they're good enough. And the
They get
quality,
recommended a lot.
yeah, and the good thing is the price, again, isn't too high.
Mhm.
We know the story from some other company we
Sure.
mentioned before.
Not gonna bring it
Um,
up again.
yeah, but this is something actually what I wanted to say, that Elgato is one of those companies who realized streaming on Twitch or on YouTube will become a big thing.
Yeah.
So they started producing those cameras, camera stands, lighting
Mhm.
stands, ring lights are very popular by them.
Yes.
Also the classic, the Stream Deck.
The Stream Deck,
We have
exactly.
their video converter, that
We do?
little analog video converter.
Oh, right.
That's Elgato.
That was a whole situation when we were first. I mean, gosh, when we first started streaming, I think we streamed like one time, hoping that no one was watching. Like, because it was, we knew, we were so nervous. It was so bad. We didn't even know what to expect, what it would look like, how it would feel. You know, the whole thing, so bizarre.
Complete
And then we did it,
novices.
and we were like, okay, I hope no one sees that, and like took it down.
Mhm.
And
You know, did you know what happened back then? Bardic Perspiration watched you.
he had to have, right? He was waiting in the darkness.
Yeah.
And then it
He
probably
saw.
took us like a couple months before we tried it ever again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because before starting streaming, I basically didn't have any stage experience, just
Oh,
performing or not performing, actually just playing in my studio here.
wow.
And you really have to develop some kind of stage persona
Yes.
before really getting there. I mean, if you're not a trained musician who is used to play on stage,
Sure.
it's a very unusual situation to have people watching, because I mean, you shouldn't be picking your nose all the time.
Oh, right.
When
Like being aware of
one,
yourself on the
yeah,
camera. Yeah. You were
and
talking about that
also
before.
develop a way of somehow making the music or taking the music from rehearsal stage to a presentable stage,
Yes.
that you know, okay, like I said earlier, this is the performance mode now. Yeah, I mean, it depends. Some people just have it where you really can't tell, are they just playing around with their instruments, or are they really deep into their performance? I won't call any names now, but we have some in the shrimp pit as well. I mean,
Oh my god.
okay, he outed himself
There
in
you go.
chat. Sid Heresy is like, he just isn't great at playing music or playing jams, but also his skits during the stream and his
Yeah.
jokes and whatnot, absolutely hilarious. Sid, this
Oh,
one goes
it's
out
its
to
own
you.
kind of a show, right? Like you
Yeah.
were saying, Twitch is its own thing. It's sort of like living inside of like a Dali painting, I feel like. It's very surreal, very absurd, and you can have a completely different experience from one stream to the next. It's so trippy, and I love it so much. And I do love when we find people like Sid, where you're like, oh yeah, just like being more absurd always is like will always work. It just keeps everything Sid is doing is working. I'm pro Sid. I just want that to be clear.
Sid Heresy is basically the spiritual guidance of Twitch, the savior from Arizona, so to speak.
I'm pro Sid Station. Wait, I actually can't. Pro Sid Station.
There you go.
Nice.
Sid is dying over here.
One of the few non-Behringer pieces I have.
Oh, VJP Cat, welcome in.
I mean, just a word about Sid saying he's dieting. Not with all the Dr. Pepper, Sid. Not with all the Dr. Pepper you're drinking.
Terrified of being boring. I totally get that.
Ah.
That's funny. That's not even
Cat,
possible.
hello.
Yeah. We awoke some chatters there with that Sid conversation.
Hey.
That was funny. Well, I mean, I think a lot of us have been in Sid's streams, so we're all in on the joke.
Hey, Sid.
This is a very like inside joke stream for Synth friends. We're all kind of speaking the Golden Shrimp Guild and Twitch streamer language. But I think it's interesting because I do get a lot of people asking me about, well, what's it like to stream on Twitch and how do I get started and all these things, and I'm like, just do it and then you'll know. And I can't tell you.
We've all had...
It's your spirit guide. Find Sid and then you'll find your way.
We've all had Sid heckle welcome us into his stream. And it's a pleasant experience, honestly. And I'm happy to be the host this time and
be able to do that and welcome Sid in. When Sid
thank you for being here.
When Sid did this back to us after we watched the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I knew the connection was strong. Yes, VJ PCAT gets it. Sid is a gateway drug to a lot of Twitch stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dark alleys in Twitch.
I'm not sure if you can see it. Actually not, but one of the racks behind me, basically the one on top of the 2600, another clone by Bad E,
I love how deep this keeps going.
Yeah, it's like herpes, it never leaves you. Not
We're
speaking
in
of
clone world for sure.
But what I wanted to say is like Sid Heresy's Jamtown modular setup, the huge wall of modules that he's using on stream, inspired me to create the Sid rack. I mean, if I can post links, I can simply post the modular grid link, and we have that website again. But the way that he uses the ornament and crime module from who's the producer? Mine is from Michigan Synthworks, but I think it's an open source module anyway. So you can basically get it from many manufacturers or solder it yourself like he did. But he inspired me to get this kind of, like Sid writes in chat, MX, MX, and so forth. Let's see if this works. And the link stays.
Okay.
I hope it's the right one and not some... Yeah.
Oh no.
And
where's this gonna take us?
No naughty stuff, no scam.
No naughty stuff. Sid rack. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically one of those racks that you have a virus now. I had one in spring. It was called COVID. No, I had it, but different story. Yeah, the thing about the Sid rack is, and especially the ornament and crime, is that you really just need to feed some CV signals, basically a clock, and that's all that needs to run there, and then the music develops by itself. Sid can explain this much more better than I do, but the fun thing is that if you do it right, and I saw Sid on stream for hours, basically standing in front of his Jamtown modular wall and just listening to the music develop and sounding better and better. And I realized when I first powered it up and tuned everything and got everything running, it was the same experience for me that Sid had in his streams, just standing in front of this module or this rack having headphones on and just listening to the music going on and taking different directions without me basically doing anything. I wouldn't call it the Sid feeling, but it gets close. And this is what I love so much about the synth scene on Twitch, these mutual inspirations.
Yes.
I would have never thought about a module like this, Ornament and Crime, without Sid Heresy's stream. Because I don't know anybody else who uses this on their stream. So that's that. Thank you, Sid. Thank you once more. I need to look at the camera. Yeah, like, Sid, we are not worthy.
Not worthy. This is so, I love taking it this far. It's amazing. Oh my god.
Thank you, Sid.
It's
Thank you, Sid.
I'm trying to keep the chat just is on fire. Yay! Everyone finds Sid inspiring, as they should, even if you don't do synth stuff. It's always something interesting going on.
I know where I'm sending my synth when it breaks.
You don't want it to break though. I was gonna say something, but I can't remember now. I'm just like very happy that we're giving a lot of Sid love in the chat. Because I think it, again, like we talked about, everybody has their own thing going on, but everybody also has their own personality and vibe. And Sid's got that really, he's really with you. He's really conversing with the chat. He's really in your face. Literally.
The natural talent of entertaining.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Enough about Sid, okay?
There's never enough about Sid.
Never.
It's the Sid Heresy dedication.
Yeah, dude.
Oh god, this is actually a Sid dedication stream. Exactly, I love it. This is awkward. I love it. I told you it's basically a big old shout out show. We've
achieved then, because like I wanted us to beat it
as hard as all the way into the ground
until it was awkward for you, Sid. So
feels good.
Yeah, we hit the mark.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, you're also out there just like Bardic is, because I think I know about Grace Harpsit because of you. I think.
Yeah, I think probably I established the connection, but I mean, this is a kind of role outside the actual music making that I do to bring people together and just to get the name out of the synth scene. Not just the Golden Shrimp Guild, but we have like the Doom fam.
Oh,
basically the scene which developed around Loki Doom and her partner Proem or Proem or however this name is pronounced. And we have the Ambient fam, a fairly new scene where Toto Robin, the most wanted and most known, most popular mod on Twitch, is the driving force behind.
Amazing.
And it's so great to see some mutuals in all those different scenes. But the music that develops from this scene is always different because, like, for example, the special thing about the Ambient fam is that unlike the Golden Shrimp Guild, where basically everything is synth-based, the Ambient fam goes and features many guitar players.
I was going to say, Ambient is traditionally a pretty guitar-based genre.
Yeah, in a certain way. Maybe because...
at least I feel like the 90s there was like an explosion of ambient guitar music
in the sky.
Yeah, even back in the 70s.
Well, in the 70s is the origins, but I feel like there was like a real groundswell, if you will.
Yeah, and the point I want to say is that the Ambient fam has this focus on people with guitars and huge pedal boards. Developing those very, very nice soundscapes. Like,
exactly. It's a nice change of pace for us synth shrimpers, right?
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be a synth.
Yes.
Always. I feel afraid to say this, but
I know,
yeah, I mean, I like to sometimes just play some kind of organ patches, super simple, add some delay, add some reverb, and you have this kind of 60s ambient style going on.
I love it.
Like Pink Floyd, early Pink Floyd in the 60s.
Exactly.
It's basically just Hammond sounds or Farfisa or something like this. And they play it with guitars. And it sounds great. I mean,
like Guitar Drone is something like shoegazy stuff, like VJ Pcat said, like post rock. Yeah, all that is sort of what I'm referencing, I think.
Yeah. Post rock
there's
is like
yeah.
the band version of ambient, I think. And
Mhm.
I am a fan of King Crimson and Robert
Yeah,
Fripp, who is the mastermind of
exactly.
this band. And back in '73, he recorded his album, his first collaboration with Brian Eno, way
Exactly.
back before Eno coined the term ambient.
Right.
And it's just his guitar playing
Uh-huh.
through two Revox tape loop recorders in a
Exactly.
combination, because the tape loop, I mean, you probably know the story, but the tape loop goes from one to the next, and somehow there's endless feedback. And this kind of guitar ambient is something that influenced me so much when I first heard the
Exactly.
album years ago.
Exactly.
It was, I mean, King Crimson, maybe it's more like progressive rock on one side, more progressive metallic sounds or metalish sounds, I would
Mhm.
say, on the other.
Mhm.
Math rock is sometimes a term which describes them, and it's very band focused. You have pounding
Yeah.
drums, you have very detailed bass work, guitar lines, absolutely complicated. And the solo stuff by Robert Fripp
Yeah.
is so different because it's just him playing, but
Yeah.
not just playing a solo like Joe Pass, endless jazz solos, which are great too, but the feedback aspect, and that he
Exactly.
basically gets the groove into his own music
Yes.
and really knows right from the spot to know what to play and to make it a great soundscape. This is something I love so much. And this is a huge influence on my music, basically.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
fantastic.
before starting to midify my setup, when I only had a few synths, where I thought, well, it wouldn't make much sense if you have MIDI connections without having a master clock or a sequencer or something
Mhm.
like this. I basically played this kind of ambient all the time. We're talking about, yeah, 10 years ago, this kind of time frame.
Mhm.
This was the main music I was playing. Endless smoke solos. Yeah, it sounds silly. Not just the music itself, but also talking about it. But actually, the fun fact about is I released this album Drone Storm last year,
Mhm.
which reworked some of the recordings I did back then. It's just my Moog Little Fatty, basically the last Moog synthesizer developed or designed by Bob Moog himself, with delay and reverb and nothing else. No other instruments, only me playing those lines, and somehow it became a hit.
I love
A
it.
minor hit, basically, but still one of the tracks of this album is my most played track on Spotify, with over 7,000 plays for a single drone ambient piece on
I
one
love that.
synthesizer.
I'm not
And
surprised.
I am surprised because actually, I still wonder why these songs or this album, and especially this one track, had this kind of breakthrough, with all people saying absolutely relaxing music, great to
Yeah.
chill out to, and still interesting and changing enough so that you can
Yes.
have it as background music, but also somehow focus on it. And that made me so happy, because this is what I want to achieve with my music,
Yes.
that you can have it on in the background,
Mhm.
relaxing or reading a book or
Yeah.
housework or something like this, or you sit there like the classic vision. Basically, you're sitting in your beanie bag with the headphones on and just chilling
Yes.
out to the music.
Yes.
I'm not talking about substances.
He's nailing it.
Yeah,
He's nailing it.
yeah,
You're
and
nailing it,
I loved
man. Like,
it.
yeah, that's exactly like what how I feel about.
I know. I feel like you just did like a really good intro video for our Cosmic Tape Music Club, because it's like very heavily based on Frippertronics and just like that being the entry point
And
into like everything else that we study there.
I am inspired by all of that exact
Yeah,
same stuff.
I know. That's
And
why I said
almost in the exact same way.
I was like, it'll be hard for us to find something new to talk about or something that we don't have in common. Because, like,
I
if
mean,
that's the core of what we agree about, that's the most niche thing I've ever heard in my life to have in
yeah, the
common.
thing, basically, Frippertronics was the second step or the third step in my musical development, I would say,
Uh-huh.
or basically inspirational development. I mean, I started playing music much later after listening to the stuff I
Uh-huh.
mentioned. And the second step obviously was Klaus Schulze, the
Mhm.
Berlin-based
Mhm.
synth master,
Of course.
who had this kind of much more
Triple link to
focused way of
podcast.
creating music than Tangerine Dream. But
Mhm.
the initial starting point for my interest in synth-based music, or actually in playing the synthesizer at all, was Emerson, Lake and Palmer,
Oh yeah,
the
that's a great
prog
one.
rock band. Like their early albums, where the Moog was really a new instrument which nobody really knew how to use, except for getting sci-fi bleepy
Yeah.
sounds and this kind of early stuff.
Right.
But Keith Emerson, took this thing on stage and treated it like an organ, like a piano,
Yeah.
but he didn't stick any knives into this one, luckily. And this playing amazed me so much, not just because the music was so different from the radio music you would hear back in the
Sure.
late 90s and early 2000s. You had new metal going on, you had rap, hip hop, all that kind of stuff. You had
So true.
a huge range of pop music, but nothing like this. I mean, okay,
Yes.
prog rock is outside of the mainstream, certainly. It was in the mainstream in the 70s, but outside
Mhm.
after these years. But this music inspired me so much because you hear this bleeping sound, you hear people really developing music on stage
Yeah.
without caring much about the audience. They were just in the moment, in the music, playing what they had in mind, and it worked. And it sounded great to my ears. I mean, some people start to scream when ELP is mentioned, but I love the music.
I think we're getting a lot of agreement in the chat that ELP is great. Yeah, I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
agreement. I think like Pink Floyd, ELP, Sono is a great reference to those Tangerine Dream, obviously, and Klaus Schulze, like we were talking about.
Yeah, those were all the
Everyone's bringing up
superstars.
Rush. Yeah, obviously, Phaedra's the one. If you're looking to get started, I would say that's good. Yeah, like this entry point of guitars for synth people, and it's because of the guitar pedals and effects and the desire for the era. There was some things going on that was making people want to try new things, and so I think that the convergence of being able to have a synth on tour with you, and also this idea of trying to extend the voice of the instrument more from just guitar, because it was all about like who could do the next cool thing with guitar. There was
Yeah,
a
I
lot
mean,
of that.
Yeah, I
Rick
agree.
Wakeman, the keyboard player of Yes, another prog band,
Mhm.
has really said it all when he said that basically in the 70s, the musicians were ahead of the technology that was available.
Yeah, exactly.
You really had to develop your own pedals, you had to solder
Yeah.
them somehow, or you had to talk to the manufacturers and saying,
Mhm.
okay, I need this and that feature in the instrument. How can this be made possible? And I really like the idea of the open-mindedness that was in the major music industry back then. I mean, you had, like Frank Zappa once said, that you had those corporate bosses who really
Right.
didn't give a shit about the music they
Right.
released because they were old guys and they said, okay, I don't really know about the music you're playing, Frank,
Right.
but just release the album. We'll give you some money to record it. We give you some money for the band. Just record it. We are going to put it out there. And you have those really absolutely far away from the mainstream albums
Right.
still becoming popular. And it's something that hasn't happened ever since. But this would
Right.
something. I mean, we have the advantage of basically putting our music on the internet and
Right.
somehow spreading it. It's
Right.
it's a
Exactly.
bit similar to the
I agree.
situation back in the 70s, but it's in our own hands now. We
I
don't need a
agree.
studio funding. We don't need people to give us money to record it. I mean, we can have absolutely great recording gear for small price in our home studio, record everything we want because of computer storage and
Mhm.
all the stuff. We can record for hours
Right.
and the cost is absolutely
I
minimal.
know. We live in the future in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about it. And I like that we are able to basically record the kind of music we want. Okay, production skills are another topic,
Mhm.
which basically
course.
sometimes take much longer than recording the music.
Agreed.
But I mean, we are in the lucky situation of doing what we want musically without anybody standing in our way. It's just a matter of getting it to the broader audience.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that we've talked
Which
a lot
is inevitable.
about how positive and supportive the synth community online is, because we do realize that like there really isn't like a physical infrastructure for this type of music outside of maybe like academia, or if you like really break through somehow. But most of us like we're enjoying being online, and if we can just like create better experiences and more ways for everyone to connect with each other and with people who want to hear it, and to be able to try all these ideas we have, I think it's really fun. Definitely the upside of streaming is that you get to try a lot of different things, and that's the whole point of all this experimentation, is that it does take a lot of time. So like getting to stream for hours, recording for hours, having endless space to record onto with the computers, is how we're finding this like sound that we're talking about. Oh wow, there's a lot of Grateful Dead talk in the chat, which I love. I'm just gonna let that be. I don't need to add
Grateful
to that.
Dead is an absolutely fantastic jam band. I mean, not so much an influence in my music, but I just love listening to them.
Yeah.
But what I
think-
have to say, I have to have a short refueling break because my empty beer bottle is staring at
Oh
me
my
for a
God,
while
yes.
Me too, man.
now. Just give me
that's
1
so
minute.
funny. Yeah, everyone
Let's do it together.
You can give me
Yeah.
a little bit more, might as well, since you're going out there. So I don't have to break again later. I love this that we're like, all right, we need to hydrate for synth talk. But I do love that. I think we talked a lot about like jam bands when we first started improvising. I'm just talking to myself in the chat now, since I have someone who can refuel me. When we first started improvising and filming ourselves and trying to figure out if we were going to go live or not with it, we talked a lot about the culture of the Grateful Dead and like how it makes you feel. Like what is like successful about it versus like making it feel like when you're at a show and like someone's taking too long of a solo and you just like want it to end. So there's like a definite art to that I think that's the reason why the Grateful Dead is such a lasting legacy. Yay! Oh, VJ PCAT, I'm so glad that you're enjoying this. That's the whole thing. It's like, it's kind of hard to explain Synth Friends. You have to experience it. And then if you do and you like it, you'll like, we're all having the best time over here, and people will find us and they'll figure out how much fun it is. I have no doubt. Oh, you gave me a lot. I don't think I'll be drinking all of this, but we'll see. Okay. Gus is getting his headset back.
So again, Prost.
Yes. Cheers. You put yours
Yeah,
away.
I'm glad that chat is liking the stream so far because of all this nerdy talk. And yeah, I mean, the fun fact about Synth Friends is that when you had the real big stars of the synth scene, like Sarah Bell Reid, or how her name is pronounced, I thought, oh, absolutely great to see those people on Twitch talking about the details of their music and their inspirations. And when you approached me, I thought, what, me? Like this nerdy guy from Germany. But I'm so glad that you invited me to this stream.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad you were able to, because I know you had some issues with your headset, I think it was. So the
headset I'm currently wearing had some problems. Somehow one of the right side had a dropout. I don't know what it was, and the repair took so long. I should have sent it to Sid, and he would repair it instantly.
It would have been done faster. Sid, right. The return of Sid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I have anything go wrong, I'm just gonna.
No, that's a really good point, Patter Unit. I have found that every Synth Friends is completely different. Like, we don't set out for that. We think we're doing it the same every time, but it's always different. And that's what I love about going live too. Because we have a podcast that we record. It started as a live chat thing, and then we started recording it like in isolation, if you will, sort of like pre-recording it just alone, not live, not in conversation. It's so different. It's so strange. And the magic of improvisation is kind of how we feel about doing live streams with live chat.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about these kind of interviews. And Toto Robin just entered the chat.
Welcome in, Toto.
Hell yeah.
And I do want to say thank you, VJP Cat, for joining us. I know that it's really hard to prioritize like whose stream you're going to join at any given time because there's so many of us always streaming. So I appreciate the energy that you're bringing.
Woohoo.
Oh, this is your first time. Well, welcome to Synth Friends. It's always different. Like Mr. X was saying, like this is a very, I would say, very relaxed because we know each other. We've watched each other's streams. We're on Twitch. Like this is no one's first time on Twitch here tonight. Like this is a very inside baseball hangout. So we're having like a really good like high level conversation, I think, about stuff. But then other times like we had Sarah Bell Reed on and we got to have like a really in-depth conversation about like I didn't know that she had like her master's in like time. We talked a lot about time and like cosmic ideas about that and like the work she does with teaching and you know just real spacey stuff. It was great. It felt like the Bill Nye of like synth kind of conversations. I love listening to her talk. That's just a truth I'm gonna drop.
I was so impressed when you announced that she was the guest of your stream on Twitch, and I really thought, what? Sarah Bell Reid on Twitch in their channel? Because I basically only know her as the superstar from YouTube and Instagram, and I was so surprised. Like I thought, wow, a really big deal.
Wow.
You thought she was out of our league?
No, I thought that she would be so in the process of performing and making music and organizing all this kind of stuff that she simply doesn't have the time.
It was truly, honestly, let me just tell you this story real quick. It was such a cosmic thing because we've been in communication vaguely, right, for a couple years. And it just so happened that we just like over the course of time, we've like talked about different things and we like started the postcard project and it's just been this really long drawn out thing. And then one day we like just both reached out to each other over DM and we're like, I think I'm going to be available in like 2 weeks. Should we like release this postcard thing? And I was like, yeah, I was just going to ask you if you wanted to do Synth Friends. Like she was just like, I have this weird opening and I just felt like I was supposed to reach out. And I was just about to reach out to you, but like feeling that sort of like, could this really be the timing? Is this really happening after like almost 2 years of like this thing that we thought was going to happen a long time ago? Yeah. So yeah, it's really crazy. Like stuff like that happens all the time where you start a project with someone, you think it's going to go one way, then it goes another, then it gets shelved, and then it comes out at the perfect time, like years later. Like that's happened to us so many times. Mm-hmm. So Synth Friends has kind of been like that because we've had some people who we thought we were going to have on and then they couldn't, but then like someone else does, and then that's really cool in its own way. And then like, well, those people will be later. But we actually have somebody we're really excited to have on in a couple weeks. So hopefully that feeling of excitement that you had about Sarah Bell Reid, you'll also feel about this person.
Yeah, the best thing about it, what I really love about this series is, first of all, it's a regular thing. And you, like me as a viewer, I can tune in every week or so and know, okay, it's Synth Friends time, really cool. And the best about it is that you often have people I didn't know. So I get to know them, get to know how their music works or what kind of inspiration they have. Mm-hmm. And that's so great to just find new people, new music. Absolutely great. Thank you so much. I love
that you said that. Thank you so much because doing something regularly has been a difficult thing to maintain for us in the past, but this has been easy. And I have no idea why this has just been like one of those things where I'm just like, I'm just going to keep doing it, you know? But it's been great. And I feel that same way. It's like, oh, it's Thursday. It's Synth Friends. Like, it's just like a really nice way to like check in with like where you are in your week. And I also too like the idea of like getting to know someone who normally you would consume on a social media platform first and like make an impression about. You get to like see here first as like the full person that they are. kind of like if you caught them on Twitch. I think I'm maybe subversively trying to get more people on Twitch by having them on Synth Friends, because
We've
there's
talked about that.
just like the magic of like what we're talking about, of like how much you get to know people in a real way that feels good, versus when you try to get to know people on just two-dimensional social media chat only, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like, it doesn't feel that good. It starts to like, just sort of not, you start to, I don't know, you feel like I am one with the machines. Is this person even real? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
And when you have like the streams where the person is live and you get to know them, like, you can have these real connections. I mean, I understand their music in a different way, and like it means more to me, and I don't know. I'm just having more fun with it.
Yeah, if Tangent Universes played some acid, I would lose it. And I wouldn't have necessarily lost it if I didn't have any context for that. So.
Gotcha. Oh my gosh, so much happening in chat here. Oh yeah, so much new music to listen to now. And what we keep finding is that it started by like people recommending their friends to us. And now we have like multiple streams of that going from different sources, like the YouTube, Instagram, or Twitch families or whatever. But everybody's music is so good. Like, I kind of keep waiting for someone who I like don't get their music or something. But that hasn't happened yet. It's all just been like, oh my God, how did I not know about you before?
That's something I realized too. And also genres that I wouldn't listen to on a regular basis. Like, for example, the more extreme kind of noise or so. Still, when the people play it on stream and play their sets, mostly improvised sets, of course,
Right.
it's great. It's
Exactly.
It's not just like the refrigerator and you have a reverb pedal added to this, but actually you really feel the live situation, you really feel the improvisation. Okay, I think when you're a musician, you have this certain point of view on how people create the music. Like when you go on a concert, you look at the instruments on stage and you look at the mixing devices, mixing desks they have, and you think, okay, will this going to sound like this? What are they going to do now? Why do they have the bass in this kind of frequency range? Or so, I don't know. You just see this kind of production details in a live setting as well. This happens on stream sometimes too, but I often realize that I just sit back and enjoy the music. And what I always tell people is that I basically don't listen to radio anymore, because when I want to listen to fresh and new music, I just check out Twitch channels, not just synth music, but also all the pop musicians and also rock bands. Like, I think Hello Scene is a very prominent example. And what I am not tired of saying is that the big major label productions from Universal or BMG or whatever, the people from Twitch don't need to be scared or don't need to feel less worthy or less of worth, because what they release is absolutely on par with the stuff that is played on the radio. Sometimes, most of the time, even better. And like Mike Shinoda started producing Twitch musicians because he was one of the few big label guys who realized there's absolute talent on there. I need to get a hold of those people and somehow promote their music outside of Twitch. And you see that some people, some Twitch streamers on Spotify are hugely popular.
Yeah, I see that too. I think there must be some sort of bar for the person who is like, man, I should really try Twitch, and the person who's like, I'm gonna figure this out, and like actually like puts themselves out there, gets their setup going, actually starts trying it, is doing it on a regular basis. I mean, these people you're talking about, I'm sure, are streaming at least 3 times a week, if not every day. And they're getting better at their craft because of it, and they're getting constant feedback and interaction from people that's constantly improving everything they're doing. I've seen this happen to people, just how they transform over time when they stream on Twitch regularly, especially for like a singer-songwriter or a rock musician or these other things we talked about, where they've been on Twitch longer. You know, there's like more of an arc and a story to those people that I've seen, where like they get better, their songs get better, their performance gets better, their gear gets better, you know? And of course, like someone who's smart, who's looking to, collaborate or produce people, like they're going to see that not only are those people like sharp, they're ready to go, like they can perform tomorrow. They're comfortable with being on, performing, being in the spotlight, all of those things that take time to hone.
Interacting with an audience.
Yeah, like all of it, the whole package is already there. Someone who's already done that all themselves. I just hope those people are getting good deals and like not signing themselves away because they've done so much hard work to get there already.
I mean, the fun fact is that those people who maybe were locally known and sometimes performing on stages in the town they live, but they didn't have much of a fan community going on, suddenly had the experience of having a community on Twitch of fans internationally.
Right.
With not just people who say, I like to listen to your music. That's something that you can basically get rather quickly, I would say. You just need to spread your music somewhere on the internet. And some people will say, oh, that's nice to listen to. I listen to it on a regular basis. But actually, the interaction of the community is something that a lot of musicians say, that they say it's nothing that I have experienced in real life before.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to basically go to gigs where I'm one of 4 or 5 people performing because a solo gig wouldn't work. But on Twitch, you see those people have an audience, a chat count of like 200 people watching, 300, 400, some close to 1,000 or more.
Exactly.
And it's like the Canadian streamer Danielle Allard.
Oh, she's great. Yeah.
She's absolutely great. And she really shows how far a community can take the music. Because one interesting thing is that she said she prefers to perform on Twitch rather than to have a IRL stage performance.
Yes.
Because she knows the audience in the stream will have certain reactions and understand certain community jokes or so, or things that happen that you couldn't pull off on a stage. Like there's this one parody song where she overemphasizes a gong that she's using during a song, and it's a parody of a pop song from the USA. That wouldn't work on stage at all if she would get the gong out and do something like that, because the audience would probably think, what's that about? But in the stream, it's one of the highlights.
Right. You were like calling for the gong. Right.
Yeah, the community knows what's up. And that's one of the interesting points. But much more interesting is that her latest album was basically co-written by the audience.
Oh, wow.
Because she asked them for ideas.
Right.
She asked them for themes to write songs about. And so everything developed, and it's something so great. I mean, I myself see that the music I watch on Twitch inspires my music as well.
Yes.
Not just the setup, not just the stuff I have in the studio, but also like Dunk Troll, the Danish guys we know.
Yes.
Great friends I met earlier this year. It's basically a band of different people having a very, very tight and dense performance. And I always say, this is the kind of music I want to hear in a club. I want to dance to, because it's so powerful. So dense is the word I like to use. It makes much more sense in German than it does in English. But their music is absolutely great. And also the show they have on stream. Not recently, but some months ago, where you had smoke coming out of the smoke machines, of course, and something like this, or blinking lights the chat could trigger.
Right.
And this is something that inspires me, because I realized, okay, if I set arpeggios and sequences in a certain way, then all of a sudden I thought, this is the Dunk Troll influence I'm playing here.
Oh.
Like when I'm noodling around with the key step, triggering the 2600 with those random arpeggios happening, that basically was an idea they triggered in their music.
No, we can relate to that. Yeah.
I just played around one time and realized, wait, that's Dunk Troll sound. That's their sound I'm playing. And then I realized, okay, the penny dropped. And that's the mutual influencing I'm talking about all the time. This is the biggest and most fun part I experience on Twitch, that not just the music is great, but also I, as a musician, get new ideas that I wouldn't have found on radio or on YouTube or somewhere else, or I don't know, Spotify, Apple Music.
Right. We're
This is
getting.
something that only happens on Twitch.
I was gonna say.
I was gonna say, at least with our sector, like electronic Twitch, like I feel like from my days of going to raves, it's kind of like going to a rave where like you had the main room and then the chill room, and it's kind of like if like let's just say that it kept going and there were like floors below the chill room, you know, and like you could keep exploring. Like I feel like that's sort of
How
like
many floors
our
below are we?
no, like all of them. I'm saying like that's sort of like what the experience of checking out Shrimp Guild artists and like other, you know, groups is sort of like if the chill room just expanded and kept going and going and going, like I'll pop in on streams and just be like, wow, like I'm in a completely different universe right now.
Mhm.
I never would have known about this and I never would have explored it before, and like I know that I like it, and that's all that matters because I have this person's handle and I can check them out again. Like, you know.
Yeah, very rarely do I tune into somebody on Twitch and go, ew, I don't like this. What is, like, usually I'm like, ooh, what do they got going on?
Whereas
what is this? What's
the
that?
chances of me remembering who was in the chill room at the rave that
Yeah.
I was in like 2 weeks ago is very, very slim, and I would probably never check them out again.
Never.
Like, unlike that, I can like save these memoirs for myself of, you know, like here's.
Well, you can follow people. You can
Yeah.
find them on Bandcamp. You can do all these things.
I can save myself remnants, you know, to come back conscious to checking out later, you know, and being like, oh yeah, I remember that.
So happy to be a gateway for you, His Quiet. We're very like welcome in. The water's fine. Like you are very welcome here. In fact, whenever the next sign up is, whenever you're ready, His Quiet, no pressure, because I don't know if you're like set up to start streaming or not, but whenever you are, we'd love to. I don't know if I have the authority to welcome His Quiet into the Shrimp Guild for a synth-on, but
of course.
If you ever start streaming, you're on board for sure.
I mean,
It's safe.
The great thing about those raid trains is that unlike some DJ raid trains where you have 10 hours or 12 hours of techno and you know, okay, it's all techno.
Right.
Sometimes you just don't know, okay, let's just take a synth on. You really don't know, okay, what's going to happen next.
Right.
You see the names, you see the artists, but you really don't know, okay, let's just say Wombra, another person who everybody knows.
Yeah.
Is he going to have something noise related, or is he going to have something more techno related or acid or something like this? And for example, the last Shrimp Someday, I think, we had David01, who recently returned to streaming, and he's known for his acid techno of the best kind. And all of a sudden, he has this kind of ambient cosmic jam going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Toto probably remembers this because I think Toto commented like, oh, it's good that you're not playing acid so that I can play something different or so. So that because she was the next person to stream.
Yes. Okay.
And I mean, it's always a bit difficult when you have these powerful techno sets and then you switch to somebody streaming slow and quiet ambient. A bit of a jump. It can work. I mean, Synthon and Synthfest, as it was known some months ago, shows that this works perfectly.
Exactly.
You have the super powerful streams, and then you have the chill out, relaxed streams afterwards, or vice versa.
I think it's always cool because no one can really plan it because we all are so unpredictable. Like, generally, everyone is sort of like, I was going to do this, but now I'm doing this. Like, you can't really... Even if we tried to plan it out, it would always be changing, I think. But it always ends up working out, is my point.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when I'm streaming and have a 2-hour stream or even a longer stream ahead, there are some tracks and some routes I'm taking in the stream that I haven't thought of before.
Yeah.
The best part is when we have those jam strategy cards. And one stream, I pulled one which said, mix up the drum tracks or so. And just by moving around the drum rhythms and everything, all of a sudden the stream had gotten a new spark, and I thought, oh, that was a really, really cool move, basically, to push the stream or the music into a whole new direction just by getting this idea.
One tiny idea can make a big difference. We felt that too. Like this week we've been sharing our clips from the We Can't Be Serious synth-on. Fest, which was last month. And that was the first time we'd really intentionally said we're going to try to use guitar in a way that works with this sort of space. What do we call, like, soundscapes, I guess is what we call what we're doing. And we would never have done that if it wasn't for the specific themes that are given. And I always appreciate that.
Doing something different, which I realize, like, you know, the idea of, you know, like doing something, what was it called again? Doing something.
You can't be serious.
Yeah, you can't be serious.
It doesn't really, it's not super clear
what
I
that realized
means.
Was for most people that translated directly to dig out your guitar.
Yeah, we weren't the only ones who did that.
And incorporate it with your modular. There were a lot of those.
Back when Actitech proposed the idea, and he's basically the mastermind of all those themes behind the Synthon, or the Synthon themes. I read it and I thought, I read it and I thought, okay, you can't be serious. What does that actually mean? I didn't know it, but I said, okay, let's do it. Let's see how this goes. And it worked. It worked absolutely great, because people or streamers start to take a different way to perform their music. Like, you got out the guitar, and this is the fun part about this, because nobody expects anything to happen. They just say, okay, stream your music, play it, see where it goes.
Right.
And it was absolutely great to see all the people thinking out of the box, taking totally different ways. And okay, I'm just a space dude playing Berlin School, but still, it's great to see how the different approaches always create something new by the different streamers. It's so cool. I mean, okay, it's all synth focused, and a lot of people say, oh, it's very synth heavy that you're playing. But for me, as a fan of this kind of music, and I can't emphasize enough how great the whole scene is. I mean, like you said earlier, there's nothing, not one stream that is boring. And even when people are struggling with technical difficulties, it's not like everybody closes the window on their computer or put the smartphone away and say, oh, okay, I don't want to see somebody struggling. The opposite happens.
Right.
People start to ask in chat, what's the problem? How can we help? What's the issue with your computer? Or is the net connection bad? Should we wait for 5 minutes? This is the kind of support that really gets things going. Because I realized it from my situations when my old streaming computer started to get breakdowns, or simply to cut off the connection, or when the internet connection broke. It's not like, oh, I'm panicking and the people are going to think, how fucked up is this?
Right.
No, it was the opposite. The chat said, we're just waiting here, get the tech going, we won't go anywhere. And even after 10 minutes, and when the problems were solved, everybody was chill. They liked when the music started playing again. Just think about the concert situation, which I experienced from the audience point of view. Even guys like Bruce Springsteen started playing his first song, and one of the generators behind the stage blew up. So basically, all but the amps on the stage broke down. You could only hear the amps in the center of the stage, and it was absolutely, Springsteen's big sound. And all of a sudden, all you hear is kind of AM radio quality through a stadium. And the audience was getting nervous already, and the band didn't realize it at first because the monitors were still working. So they were playing and playing until they realized, oh, something's wrong. And then they had to, of course, take a break, get things working again. Like, it took, I think, 20 minutes or longer. And the audience was getting super nervous.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen on Twitch, luckily.
I know. This is why it's such a surreal experience, because it's like everything is part of the show. But nothing is a show. But it's all a show.
It's absolutely confusing.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. And I like it. I want to live in that strange, surreal, absurd place. Like, that's where I feel like the most true.
Yeah. It's a cult. It's not a cult, but
it's not a cult. It's a cult, but it's not a cult. No, I was really enjoying listening to you as a German person tell us a story about our American hero, Bruce Springsteen. Who I like, not like, I'm personally not a Bruce Springsteen fan, but when I hear Bruce Springsteen, I just think like blue jeans and American flags. And I really appreciated that story. But that's like part of why we stopped, when we were playing live a lot, the level of sort of things going wrong and not really getting to have as good of a time with your art and your craft and your performance, like that was a real bummer.
Well, I found that the level of having to have your shit together to be able to like pull off a like halfway decent show, any old like medium-sized venue in America, at least that's our experience, and it's you just have to have your shit like so tight, like I mean, like, because you could go from anything from like no PA to,
or add in like, now you're playing South by Southwest, now you're playing outside, now you're playing in the desert, like all these different things.
Poorly delayed compensated festival.
Yeah, no sound check, all that kind of stuff.
And so like to be able to like come off sounding like halfway decent in that kind of environment where you're basically just treated like band cattle.
Or like, God forbid, if anyone's ever played in New York City, the way that there's like nowhere to park, you're not allowed to park, you can't bring your stuff, you have to someone's gonna there's no like, oh, you have to climb stairs, like the insanity
Twitch
that is
literal heaven.
The insanity that is playing a show in New York City on a rainy night in like downtown. Anyway, you were supposed to play upstairs, but no, you're going to play downstairs.
The good old days. This is what I consider it at this point.
Oh my goodness. Like that whole scene was like, it was like a bucket list thing for me too, though. I was like, if I don't do this, I won't feel like I tried hard enough at trying to do this.
Yeah.
That was just a confession I felt like I
got my badge.
Two things will probably happen, because the Galaxy Electric tribute show on Broadway will probably happen sometime. And another thing I thought the story was actually going was that you were admitting stopping to play covers of I'm on Fire, Dancing in the Dark, and all those Springsteen hits. I mean, my stage experience is very limited, but still, I realized also, triggered by Superbooth, which was some kind of pivotal moment, the spark that we all needed in Europe for the Golden Shrimp Guild and the members who live in Europe, was that actually it was possible to take the music on the road and even absolutely improvised sets, and it would work.
Wow. Because
the fun thing about Superbooth is that they have so much live music going on.
Oh, is that the case?
It was absolutely great, because the
Tell
venue...
us more about Superbooth. We plan to go this year.
You mean next year? It would be absolutely great to have you in Berlin. I mean, just saying this, we have Toto Robin is going to be in Berlin next year.
No way.
I'm going to be there, of course. Spark Noise is going to be there. Actitech will probably be there. And who else? Maybe the Dung Troll people from Denmark will be there. Then, of course, all the best thing was, back when Spark and I arrived at the same day in Berlin, we were sharing the hotel room there. Mm-hmm. Platonically, just saying.
We were never gonna. Yeah. We know what it's like to be a musician on the road. You're sharing all kinds of things.
And the great thing is, he said, that we arrived on Wednesday evening. The Superbooth was planned to start on Thursday, and he said, well, they have this kind of opening party tonight. And I said, oh, great, I didn't know about this. Well, just let's go there. And when we entered the venue, it was just like watching my YouTube front page with Heinbach standing there, Nick Bett, both talking about synths, and all those guys from YouTube. I say, absolutely great.
Oh my God, I love it.
And it got even better, because the party itself was not the big ass party you would imagine, but it was really cool. But the great thing was next day, the booth opened at 9 a.m. rather early. The weather was nice. It was open air most of the time because of COVID.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden they had this small tent at the plaza at the back of the venue. Basically the first part or the first place you would go when you enter the building. You would quickly go through the building onto this plaza, and they had some kind of 80s funk duo. Some guy playing Roland synthesizers, drum machines, and this other bass player with basically fretless slap bass.
Cool.
And I thought, so cool to drink your morning coffee while listening to this music blasting all over the place.
Yeah.
And it was like this all day and night.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that's
we
like
were...
my dream come true.
I was going to say, we were already sold, but now we're super sold.
Yeah, you have to come there. It's so great.
That's the
I
plan.
was
It's
so
a matter
amazed.
of it's a matter
By the way,
of
I want
dates.
somebody to slide me a bass if they see me around and
Just, if you see me anywhere, slide me a bass.
slide me a bass. Because I'm not gonna bring my bass, but I like playing bass, and just slide me a bass.
Yeah, we have to now figure out that whole like, what are we bringing? Like what days even is it? Like it might.
I'll probably bring an iPad, y'all.
There's so many things I would have to think about related to it, but I want to just say yes because I think it would be really fun.
I mean,
And I think someone else we know might be going that would make it really fun too.
You don't really have to bring your own gear, except it's a super rare synth or something you did in a DIY project that doesn't exist anywhere else. But
right.
we have, I mean, you saw the user on Twitch sometime, certainly, Star Trek's Berlin.
Yeah.
Ronnie, as his real name is, and he of course lives in Berlin. He's close to the people organizing Superbooth.
Okay.
And when we were there this year in May, he always said, why don't we do something as the Golden Shrimp Guild? Like setting up a stand and then maybe performing music ourselves or something like this.
Like almost like a Twitch raid train while we're there, but it's live.
Yeah, like this. But if you want to play a gig for, let's say, 1 hour or even 45 minutes or so, you can simply write them an email and say, okay, we're this duo from the USA. We play this kind of music. We need this equipment on that stage. And I mean, that's Berlin. You just say what you want to do.
That blows my
mind.
mind.
Make it happen somehow. Yeah.
That blows my mind.
I mean, I'll just bring the Octatrack anyway. It's
like a Twitch tour fest. Exactly, VJ PCAT. I love that idea. I like the idea of a Golden Shrimp Guild like stand at, because it would give us like sort of a home base during the whole experience, you know?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we would love to connect with,
because you know it's hard sometimes to find each other or sync up
any of our
throughout that experience. I don't know. Like that was my experience at NAMM. I don't know what Superbooth's like, but it sounds like a dream come true.
I mean, what happened at NobCon is that at the hotel where many shrimp people were staying, they had these streams in the hotel rooms. I mean, you may have seen some on, and I thought that was absolutely amazing because they really brought their own gear.
We actually live pretty close to there and we were gonna go, but we hadn't quite synced up with the guild yet. Like we were kind of sort of just starting. And it was like we were just starting, and they were like, "You should go to."
Well, that'll be another thing we do next year.
It was like too much at once, but I saw all that and thought, "Oh, I get it now." You know, like we would definitely do that next year.
Yeah, I mean, 100%, because it's basically our backyard.
We're gonna need multiple rooms now next year.
Or maybe
have like
even
the techno room, the down tempo room.
I mean, as far as I remember, of course I wasn't there. But there was some kind of stand going on at NobCon where they talked about the jam strategy cards.
Yeah.
Even Nick Bett featuring them on a Sonic State episode on YouTube talking about what the Shrimp Guild does.
I didn't know that. That's really cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I think the idea that like getting on Twitch has propelled us into this community and that the community is actually real and like there's all these things bringing us out more, I think is really, really cool. Okay, so it's official. We're gonna say yes to Superbooth and see if it works out.
Let's talk about more details about Superbooth, because the fun thing that Spark and I realized is that there is a very great hotel of high quality, obviously, very close to the venue. You just go and take the tram for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or so, and you're at the venue directly. And the hotel is filled with synth people. It was so
Oh, that's
cool.
so fun.
We went down the elevator to the breakfast room, not a big room, but fairly
Yeah.
medium sized, I would say. And you see Moog shirts, ARP shirts, or mutable instrument shirts, and all the synth talk at the breakfast table. So
Oh my
basically,
God.
the
That does
Superbooth
feel like
was
a cult,
all
though.
around. Yeah, I mean, the poor hotel staff who really thought, oh,
It's like a
fuck,
Star
all
Trek
the
convention.
nerds here. Yeah, even worse. Even worse.
No way. No one was dressed up like in an alien costume or anything, or synth costume. Maybe that's
Well,
what
we
we
don't
need to do.
know what happened in the hotel rooms themselves, but
That's true.
who knows?
A knob
Yeah.
cult. I know. I think it's just like by nature, it's culty, but like not in the bad way. I can't
It's not
think of
just
anyone who's
culty,
like,
it's nerdy.
it's nerdy culty. There's no like head of the synth cult. You know what I mean? That we're all worshiping.
I mean,
I don't think.
no.
I can't think of anyone. It's
Don't
very
say the name.
dispersed. Don't
Don't
say
say the name.
it. Him who shall they who shall not be named.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, we
Yeah,
have some
but-
more conversations to have about this
Yeah.
offline.
Superbooth is absolutely great. And
I
it
love
would
your
be so
enthusiasm.
awesome.
Like
Yeah, I mean,
everyone's
I-
very
I-
enthusiastic about it.
I was so surprised because Superbooth has 3 days basically. You have 3 full days,
Uh-huh.
and I thought, okay, that's fairly long for a convention of this kind of size, because I expected it to be some kind of more underground like convention,
I don't think
but
so.
it wasn't the case at all. You really
Right.
need the 3 days to see everything they have.
Wow.
They have the main building in this venue, in every room, even the smallest
Oh,
room,
wow.
they can have somebody is inside showing their modules. And not just that, they had a room for Rhodes e-pianos. They had the Moog room. They had an ARP tent in the main building.
Wow.
It was like synth heaven. I mean, it
That's
sounds
amazing.
super cheesy, but it was really, really stunning. And
I
you
would
had
just love to experience that because, like, I don't really like. I don't know. I guess like I stay pretty pigeonholed like with my own personal setup. So for me, Superbooth would be an opportunity to really like just enjoy exploring all of these different tents and stuff
Yeah.
and just seeing what everybody has to offer. Like I feel like it's kind of like my way of being like, all right, I'll allow myself on TikTok. You know what I mean? Like
I know it does. It sounds like an ethereal dream. But
It
yes, like
was.
burning
It
synth
really
burning
was. It was really a game changer for me personally, because first of all, getting to know all the European shrimp people who were there,
man. Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, they're even more fun. Even
Yes.
it's
I
just a
believe it.
real thing to experience those people. And
in
the
person.
best about it was that basically you had live music around all day, and the way that they used the venue itself, you had a circus tent with live music all the time,
Whoa.
and different stuff like a live band or more like a techno set with one person
Mhm.
playing some kind of extended DJ set, I would say.
Mhm.
Then there was this kind of small village which took 5 minutes to walk there, where they had small wooden houses where you had Döpfer and all those kind
Oh,
of
like a little
modular,
synth village.
yeah, I think they even, what was the name? I can't recall the name, but it was basically a synth village, and it was. I start swooning again just thinking
know,
about
I
how
love
great
it.
it was. Yeah,
I love how
the weather was
enthusiastic.
all right.
It
It was
just keeps
open
going.
air. Yeah, I mean, all the jazz talking hands basically. And if you get the chance to take the flight over to Europe, to
Mhm.
Berlin, do it, please. It would be so amazing to have you there as well. I
That
can
would
give you all the hotel details after stream.
Yeah, we'll have to do that because we're planning on it as
It
something
will
that's
take place
been
in May next year.
yeah. So it's been the big goal of ours for a couple years now, and for obvious reasons we haven't been able to go.
Well, I just got all those miles.
But we just got a whole bunch of miles, and that's not the reason we couldn't go before. That was COVID. But that's unrelated. We have miles. So the getting there isn't really the issue. It's like if the dates, we might have something going on those dates. So I need to confirm what the dates are for Superbooth and compare that with some other things. And then it would just be like hotel stuff.
Yeah.
Disgustoso. Thank you for
But
the
yeah,
follow.
it would be really cool to stay at the cool hotel because I know
Yeah.
with conferences, like the cool hotel is like a big part of the experience. Like
Hell
if you're not
yeah.
staying at the cool hotel, you're not gonna know what's going on. You're not gonna have the same experiences. You're not gonna have the talks to the breakfast. You're not gonna, you got to do it.
That's
so
so
like
true.
I absolutely
This
want
is
to
like a Superbooth stream all of a sudden. I
get
don't know what this is.
in with the cool hotel
Wasn't
and
expecting that.
consider you, Mr. X, like one of the best resources. you know.
Okay, 11 to 13. All right.
I mean, the great thing is that everything is so close there.
Mm-hmm.
Downside, if you want to see something of Berlin, the city, you're going to have a hard time because it's very far out, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's all right.
That's
I want to
okay.
be like pigeonholed into the experience of Superbooth. I don't care about this being a sightseeing trip necessarily.
You're funny.
I mean, just the one argument that basically says it all, we have Toto Robin there. So,
Oh, I mean, I know. That was what sold me. As soon as you said that, I
Yeah.
was like,
Of
we're
course.
done. It's happening.
Yeah, there's.
I
I got
like
a
it
lot.
for these
I got a lot of
dates.
reasons I want to visit. The area in general. A lot of clubs I want to go to.
I mean, you don't even need the clubs when you have all the live music
know,
there.
right?
The funny thing was that one time, I think it was the second day or so, we were sitting outside sipping some beers, listening to live music. It was a techno set or so, when all of a sudden the police came and closed down
What?
because it was past midnight and some neighbor far away said, "No, the kick drum sounds shitty, close down."
Oh my god, that's so
And-
funny.
Yeah,
Like they're
I
using
mean, it
Behringer.
was-
Shut it down.
don't say the B word at Superbooth. I mean, we had
No,
this running
never.
gag like you go to each tent, to each stand and ask, do you know where the Behringer stand is?
No.
You can try, but I mean, you have everything except Behringer on there.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Can you imagine going all the way to Superbooth and then asking where the Behringer is? That would be a joke. I feel like there's somebody who kicks you out. There's like
Not
a
just kicks you out, but kicks you and then kicks you out.
kicks you and then kicks you out.
I don't
Oh
know.
my
They
God.
just announced that
I can't find this thing.
sequential clone today, right?
The Pro 800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looked pretty cool. I mean, like I know I like the sound of that synth. I would definitely be interested in something like that. I'm at this stage it's still the vapor stage, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I keep it pretty simple though. Like I don't really have outside of the Buchla, I don't really have that much going on. Like I have a few favorites, but I get a lot of mileage out of everything that I have besides the Buchla.
I mean, luckily, Prophet synths are back on the market in a fairly decent and diverse availability, I would say, because luckily Dave Smith, rest in peace,
Aw.
Yeah.
he was so productive recently, or not just recently, but for I think 15 or 20 years or so,
Yeah.
that you have so many different Prophet style synths. And actually, I was lucky because Dick the Beat, also a streamer from the Golden Shrimp Guild from Berlin, sold me his Prophet 08. Basically, the first one, which was released in 2008, obviously. And back when I was just starting to be a synth player in the year, I saw the announcement, Prophet 08 announced, the return of the Prophet sound, and I thought, wow, it sounded amazing because, like, the original Prophets were super pricey back then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, okay, the Prophet 08 wasn't cheap, It was also expensive and out of reach back then for me.
Mhm.
And then Dictor Beat just said, yeah, well, I'm selling my Prophet 08. And I said, okay, I'm here. Just tell me the price. And ever since, and I must admit, it was 12 years later, or even I think 13 years later, that I finally played this synth. And the first notes, I thought, wow, like a time travel back to 2008. And that's why I said the Pro 800 might be nice, but you can get the sound from so many synths.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Chris has the Prophet
I know.
08.
I know.
Yeah.
We know a person who has that synth.
And again, Bardic Perspiration also is a
Yeah.
master of the Prophet, and
Yes.
Better Units also has one, and he really rocks the synth.
More shout outs to the Shrimp Guild in this stream. Amazing.
The shout out stream.
Yeah, it's a shout out stream. I said that. Well, I am going to say that this conversation has crossed enough topics that I feel satiated. I made you jump.
But I thought this was just the introduction, and now we're starting the actual stream.
Now we're starting the actual stream. Yeah, this is actually a 24-hour stream where we talk to Mr. X until we run out of ideas. No, it truly is been like such a fun conversation. I feel like we were able to really get some people lit up here about how awesome Twitch is, and I'm glad that we did that because we are getting paid to say that, so I'm glad that that worked.
Firstly, I have the Prophet 05 VST on my old Mac, like my OS 9 Mac. And also, I've really enjoyed the stream. This has been awesome.
I know. Now we break out the tequila. Already did that, BJP Cat, of course. I know. This is a happy hour stream, as we like to say. If that's a category, it's our category that we made up. And I love seeing what everybody drinks. So what do you have?
I'm having a fairly regional beer called Diebels Alt.
Nice.
Alt beer, basically old beer, if you translate it literally, is a dark beer. I mean, my dear friend Zurich, who knows a lot about beers, he could tell you all the details and really tell you why it's in this category of beer, but I'm not sure that he's here. He streamed earlier, I saw. He could tell you everything about it. And yeah, it's a regional beer, not from the town where I live. It's basically 60 to 70 kilometers away. But basically a beer that they only drink in the region where I live, the Rhineland.
I was going to say, it's in your region. In your region,
of course.
If it's 60 to 70 kilometers.
There's no stream where I'm the talk show guest where I have to introduce the Rhineland, the best part of Germany, basically.
Right.
Yeah, and it's absolutely great to drink. And I just was about to say, I'm just finishing my second bottle, so we still have some time to go, basically.
I know. If the drinks are the hourglass, we still have lots to go. But I could see myself pouring this back in because you gave me way too much.
Here, pour a little over here.
I will. I'm so glad that you were able to join us, Powder Unit, and that you enjoyed this synth stream or a synth friend stream. And that everyone is on board with our drinking problem. I'm so appreciative of that.
And that you all like are really supportive of us going to Synth Booth.
Yeah. And everything else.
Superbooth.
So much,
why did I say Synth Booth?
So much supportive energy
Superbooth.
From everyone. Who should we raid? Do you want to hang out for our raid? Let's see who everyone thinks we should raid.
But isn't there the most important question still?
Oh, there's so many questions still. I'm just getting myself
prepared.
Yeah. I know. Everyone knows. There's an expectation. I was going to ask that.
No, I was going to ask that.
Okay, Gus is going to ask
I was going to ask it. You were going to ask it.
Gus is going to ask the questions around here, okay?
All right. So, the question I'd like to ask you is, Mr.
Drum roll.
Oh, the RD9's not on right now.
If it was, I would be like, will you be our synth friend?
I say yes. I have to stand up for this. Take the shrimp part. Yes, please.
Yay! Oh, the shrimp part, I love it. Ambient drum roll, Toto. That was too much.
Oh.
I'm stealing that.
Drone roll, please.
I love that. I'm stealing that. Oh god, that's so funny. Yay! Thank you. I know we shouldn't take it for granted that you're gonna want to be our synth friend, even though we're Twitch synth friends. But to be a real synth friend means that, you know, when you have shit going on, I'm gonna share it, and that we're gonna have inside jokes from our stream. Is pretty much what it means to be a synth.
And when you walk by me at Superbooth, you're not allowed to like turn the other way and be like, I don't know that mustache.
Yeah, synth friends for life is a real blood oath. Okay.
I will bring the knife.
I love it. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it. Okay, so the other responsibility you have as a synth friend is to recommend.
I'm going to be a bit of Toto Robin. I'd say I'll take your word on this.
I just read today that Toto Robin is a swordsmith.
Wait, you didn't know about this?
Trained sword fighter. Where
Yeah,
did I read that?
Ask her to join Synth Friends.
Okay, so are you recommending that Toto is the next synth friend?
I mean, I'm not recommending this, but...
Are we consecrating this live?
Because normally what we do is we ask you if you'll be our synth friend. If you say yes, then later we're going to ask you, like, in chat or DMs or whatever, who should be the next synth friend. And that's how we have the next person.
But if we could skip a few steps...
And just do it live.
And just make it happen right now.
Yeah.
Vote totes. See, now it's going to turn into a vote in the chat. So...
Oh, you can... Start the poll. Start the poll.
Start the poll.
That's amazing. So I feel like at this point, I'm going to give you the option of 2 because we obviously have to have Toto on. That's like goes without saying.
Yeah, you're on.
And you can't take it back now. But I do want you to have the opportunity, like everyone does, to like think about it for a couple days and then send us somebody.
I mean, also, I can't take it back because Toto will threaten to beat me up at Superbooth. So
you basically, without realizing it, committed by blood that Toto is the next friend.
So who's your favorite artist, Toto? Toto or Robin?
Well, what does he write? I mean, Toto Robin is the only person who will travel from the USA with so many swords in her luggage that no airport security guy will say you can't take this on the plane because, you know, this kind of Highlander scene where she chops them up to bits will happen.
Yes.
Then.
Toto, I look forward to meeting you in Berlin with your
But
swords.
just putting the idea out there, maybe find a way to have a mobile stream so that you can do Synth Friends live from Superbooth.
That would be really cool if we did like kind of just like a pop-up thing where sort of like as people, just like whoever's around.
As we ran into people, we did like real time, like...
Yeah, like Billy on the street, just yelling in people's faces.
Exactly.
Who's your favorite synth artist?
Yeah. We're just going to be running around with fake microphones.
Yeah, we just like find Heinbach and we just like drag him around like Billy Eichner style, just dragging him around to people going, do you know who this is? Who is this for $1? Yeah. And it's Heinbach. That would be
for
really
Euro.
Fun. That would be the synth for €1, you're right. That would be the Synth Friends version of doing Billy on the Street.
I'm gonna kidnap.
I hope people know what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna kidnap Love Holton and make him design me something like.
Do you know who Love Holton is?
Just throw him in my.
I heard the name, yes. But I was
just designs those
like
sort of like redesigns like the exterior, I guess, of a synth.
Of synths.
To look
combines synths that actually exist into like these.
Let me find him.
Things. It's so cool.
Love Holton. I'll put it in the chat.
I just figured that was a household name.
if we're really lucky, we're going to meet Look Mom No Computer at Superbooth, and then things will get super interesting.
I would pass out like seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan.
Wow, yeah, I would just be like, oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
But the thing is that actually
ginger.
Actitect had his mobile rig the experimental mobile rig
No
back then
way.
at Superbooth, and we did some live streams from the tents. It works.
Ooh,
So, I mean, you could make this happen.
we could. All we need is our Logitech webcam and our Behringer. Wait, what?
Actually, not even that. He has this kind of shoulder-mounted webcam, which follows the people it focuses. So, I mean, I'm not sure if the stream is available still, but we have some
Whoa.
recordings where he was talking to Shackmat, the guys from, I think they're located in Belgium or so. And it was so cool to have this live stream basically from the tents in the woods. It's some kind of urban forest where the venue is based.
Oh wow.
And I must not start swooning about Superbooth again. But
I
it's
know,
just,
right?
Was it always
I
in a
could talk-
forest, or was that a COVID thing?
No, it was the venue. Okay, maybe they chose the venue because of COVID, but it's
Yeah.
That's what I'm
basically.
thinking.
I think I read that. I think they did.
But the fun thing is that the main building, which is a big building actually, had so many stands inside that COVID couldn't have been the reason actually. I mean, they had a lot
I
of tents
see.
outside. They had the Synth Village at a 5-minute distance, walking distance.
Mhm.
And it was of course COVID related, but the venue is absolutely excellent. You have no housing around that you have to take care of, like typically Germany, to turn down the music at 10 p.m.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But like I said, even after midnight, and the distance to the residential areas was
Mhm.
fairly large. Still,
Gotcha.
the police came and turned down the music.
So funny.
Yeah, that's Berlin. It's weird sometimes.
That is so funny because that's not what you think of it.
I mean,
Didbox
if
has entered the chat. Welcome in,
oh,
Didbox.
Ditbox, Monsieur Wunderbar, my favorite French friend.
Throwing
And
your own
the
emotes at you. I love it.
Yeah, of course. He knows what's good. But the best thing is, if so many shrimp people are in Berlin at the time, we could totally raid Berghain and maybe do a shrimp set on there. I mean, Ronnie, Star Treks, was talking about this all the time.
Oh, I love
So-
that. Yeah, it sounds like
Gal-
there's a little coalition building.
Galaxy Electric at Berghain. It has a
Holy
ring
cow.
to it.
It really does. I think I've never made something so official that I wasn't 100% about. So this has to happen now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's nothing standing in our way except potentially some shows that we booked.
Yeah, I'll bring my iPad.
So I have to see it. That's the concern I have, is that we may have booked some shows here around those dates, so it might be a little tight, but we want to make it work if we can.
It's the goal.
It's the goal. It's the
It's
dream
the
and the
goal, the Golden Shrimp Guild.
the
Yeah,
goal,
exactly.
the trip goal. Exactly.
The golden.
I think that must be what it is that you do a lot of bad puns. It really breaks the ice and makes people feel comfortable with you. Like you're not just a
I mean-
pretentious synth dude. You're like a bad pun bro.
Yeah, I mean, especially Noximus, you might know him from the UK. He's an ambient streamer as well. And
How do you
he
spell
and
it?
it's like this.
By the way, that pink thing that Love Holton did recently is like my favorite thing that he's done so far.
Oh yeah, has
Like,
everybody seen Love Holton? I put the link in the chat.
But what I wanted to say is that basically the bad puns and the humor itself is basically there all day. Not just from myself, but it's so hilarious with all the shrimp people. I mean,
Mhm.
again, I start swooning again.
I know you
It's-
can't help yourself.
Yeah, it's
I
a game
love it.
changer. Like I said, it's so great.
I
Maybe we
love
could
it.
even get Bardik to join because he doesn't live. I mean, he lives in Germany too, so
Uh-huh.
he could easily travel to Berlin.
Yeah. Come on, Bardick.
Yeah. Boba, do it.
The one person who's not here. We're like, hey, come on. Come to Synthbooth.
Yeah.
Come on. We're coming all the way from the USA.
Also, Ditbox,
Yeah.
living in France,
Mm.
go
That's
to
pretty
Superbooth.
close. You could take a train. We have to fly.
Yeah,
I
if
love
you
it.
only
I
have
mean-
to take a train, you have to go. Like,
Taking a train in Germany is dangerous because the Deutsche Bahn sometimes does a lot but not drive the trains actually. So flying might be the better option.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's something for a different stream.
That is a different stream. You're right. Well, we definitely are gonna have you back, obviously, and Toto, Robin, definitely gonna have you on. I'll have to reach out. We have some, holidays coming up, and we're gonna be taking breaks and stuff like that. So we'll connect with you about setting that up. But wow, what a fun stream!
Also,
I really had so much fun. What?
you asked me earlier about a person I could recommend for Sin Friends. I
Yeah.
mean, he's probably on your list, but we talked about him a lot.
Oh, you want
Bardic
to keep doing this
Perspiration.
live? I love it. Who is it?
Bardic Perspiration.
Oh, of course, Bardic.
Add
See,
him
this
to
is
your list.
this is what's so hard. It's like I'm gonna make you pick just okay. That's it. You're not allowed to pick any more people because they're gonna pick people too. Like I could pick every person so far. So I'm trying to just like let it happen.
Right.
Because it is getting to be a like, oh wow, like people want to do this. I wasn't sure if people would. So it's taking off, if you will. I'm cutting you off. No more votes. No more recommendations. I don't want to hear another word about Superbooth.
I was just going to say no more swooning about SB.
Yes.
That's like all I want to talk about.
No, I have to cut you off. Like, we'll do it again. See, this is not going to be the last conversation. Toto, I know. I'm pulling out my swords. I'm learning from Toto. No, honestly, like, the...
No synth for me. No synth for me. No synth for me.
There's just a point at which I feel like
No synth for me.
I start to lose it a little bit. So this is really just like a personal thing. Like I'm very impressed by people who can stream for like 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever hours. I'm just like, I love the Sunday shrimp Sunday raid train where everyone just does an hour. Like I think that's so cool. I love a little like bite size experience of everyone's music. No one else. Wow, that was like crickets. Okay, fine.
No, it's true. It's true.
I thought we already ended the stream. I'm sorry. Like I'm out of it.
No.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, we should talk about this. What time are you streaming for Ambient Fam tomorrow?
I'm so well prepared that I have to check my calendar.
We're just so there's so many things going on. Didbox, thank you for keeping up the whole Galaxy Electric thing. It makes me really happy.
It's 10 p.m. Central European time.
Oh, I was gonna say
that is 6
hours?
p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. So it's
The
5
difference
hours. Okay. I thought it was 6.
No, it's basically the time zone where Toto Robin is based. I'm pointing at my second monitor now, my second screen. The time zone where Toto
4
Robin
p.m.
is.
I was gonna say I think it's 6 hours difference.
Yes, of course, math. Yeah, of course. It's 10
backwards
minus 6, 4 p.m. Yeah.
It's backwards math. Okay, so 4 p.m. tomorrow. We're gonna be going at 6. So it's gonna be Mr. X, Toto, Galaxy Electric. That's insane.
Oh wow.
That's insane.
But again, what would I do without my trusty mod Toto Robin?
I agree. What would we do without our mods? I don't know.
She saved my life once again.
Toto is a superstar. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. I love that. Okay, so you're at 4. See, this is going to be hard, though, because we like to get into, like, a space and, like, set up and everything. But, like, I'm going to want to watch everyone's streams, too. So that's going to be hard. I'll have to be checking in and out all day.
What you gonna do?
From everyone's streams.
What are you gonna do?
But yeah, that's tomorrow, everybody, just so you know. Do you know if there's like a central link for that, or if it's just like you just have to know who's streaming and join their stream specifically?
Well, there is the ambient post, the Instagram post, but there are no times added to this one. I mean, there is a
because you know how the Golden Shrimp Guild has it's like the gsg.com/live, where if you go there, no matter who's streaming, you're going to see the event, you know? I think that's so brilliant.
that could happen. I'm going to send you the Google spreadsheet so you can post it on stream or in the chat. I'm not sure about it because it might be an
Like
editable.
internal only kind of a situation. They are
Yeah,
still new to
something
ray
like
trains.
this.
You've been helping them. Of course you have, Toto. They don't have that yet, but they will. I believe in them. I just think
Yeah.
it's so cool. Like such a smart idea to have that central link where I love going to that link because like trying to find things on Twitch sometimes is a lot. And then I'll get distracted and be on some other platform and forget what I was doing. So I love that central link. But otherwise I guess just know that we're all streaming tomorrow for Ambient Fam. And keep an eye out. And just follow everyone on Discord so that you know when everybody's going, and follow everyone on Twitch so you know when everyone's live. That'll be a really fun thing just to have on all day for everybody. Talk about like music. You said at the beginning like you love your music being like for like pairing with an activity or background music for while people are working and stuff. So I would say that this stream is very much that. Yeah, I don't know when it starts. Does it start at like 10 or 11 in the morning or 1 p.m.?
I can
I
quickly
have
check
no
because
idea.
it starts with
Oh
a
my
year's reign at, what is it?
Okay.
2 p.m. Eastern Daytime.
2 p.m.
Basic-
Eastern. Okay. 2 p.m.
8
Eastern.
p.m. Central
So
European.
8
I'm the
p.m.
third
Okay.
person.
Oh wow, so that's
We
actually
have-
pretty late.
Not for me. I mean, currently we have 2:45 a.m. in Germany, but I'm a night owl anyway, so it's not a
Yeah,
big
that's right.
deal
It's
for me.
really late for you right now. That's crazy.
I'm on vacation. That's the big
Oh, that's
advantage.
right. You were like, this will be perfect because I'm off work now.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Yeah.
And-
Everybody, you know, lots of love to Mr. X for joining us this late on our stream. Because I always tell people we like to stream at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's perfect for us. But we will change it if you're in a different time zone. Like, I'm not going to be ridiculous about it. But you were like, no, it works for me. So I was like, great. I love
that because Mr. X did it, though, we expect everyone else to do
Yeah,
it,
I'm
too.
like, oh, you can't stay up till 3 a.m. like Mr. X? What's wrong with you?
Also, I'm talking to you from the future because it's Friday here already.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, you need to go to sleep so that you can wake up and stream again.
And then we'll stream.
I will find a way. And
You
if
will
not,
find-
there's always coffee.
There's
But
always
also,
that's such a
fun-
like live, laugh, love kind of a thing. There's always
Fun
coffee.
fact, you are the only ones to stream for 2 hours during Ambient Fam
I
Ray Train
know.
Fest. Yeah.
It's okay. That's totally coincidental though. Like we signed up for our hour slot, and then the other day they said, "Hey, there's nobody after you. Do you want to do 2 hours?" And we're like, "Well, we're happy to help keep the raid train going, but if somebody else wants to step in and do that hour, like we're not like." It feels weird. We're doing 2 hours and everyone else is doing.
We're
an
not
hour.
trying to
I
hoard
mean-
that slot.
I asked some people to take that slot, but
Uh-huh.
sadly they weren't available. And one of my choices were, of course, Grace Harps.
Yes.
This would have been full circle.
Yes, it
but-
would have been.
She doesn't have time, sadly.
She's doing a lot of Christmas things right now, as a harpist does. But I just love that. I was like, we weren't trying to play 2 hours, I promise. I'm not trying to take the spotlight of the Ambient Fan Raid Trade, but we will do our best to honor the extra time slot
Always.
with the Bukla. We'll do more Bukla as you always request.
Yeah, I'll throw
Oh,
in a
yeah.
couple extra Bukla sequences.
Oh yeah.
I'll even leave the room and just like let you all have your alone time with the Bukla.
I might leave the room and let you have your own time at the Bukla.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
That
it's
takes
good.
a
It's good for
certain
that.
turn.
I'm going to, let's see, where did I put this? I have your Instagram link here. So I know we gave you a shout out. We'll do that as well. Follow Mr. X on IG here. And do you have anything like, obviously we've mentioned Ambient Fam tomorrow. Anything else coming up or any releases or anything you want us to shout out?
There will be some more festivals or raid trains I will play in the upcoming days, with the Ambient Fam being the first one, of course.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a new album, hopefully released at the end of January next year.
How exciting.
Yeah, I'm currently, because that's basically where I have the vacation. It's my vacation of working on the album
Oh, wow.
so that I can finish the tracks and get it mastered, and
Yes.
then it's time for releases.
Wow, that's a lot to take on.
That's cool.
Exciting. So you heard it here first, folks. There's going to be a new Mr. X album end of January. So get ready. Get your ears ready. And between
And
now
of
and
course,
then, follow his streams.
Some collaborations happening.
Mm-hmm.
Wink, wink. No,
Wink,
not
wink.
like this, but yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yeah,
I would
but-
say you also have a Discord.
Yes.
So I don't know if people follow you on Twitch and then jump into your Discord, you can stay up to date more with those releases and collaborations and things that you're doing and when you're playing.
I will just
different
post
festivals.
my master link in the chat.
Ooh, how nice of you! Look at that.
Master Link.
He doesn't give that master link to just anyone, y'all. You've been a good audience for us today. Good chat. So you've earned the super link.
Your new nickname is going to be Mr. Funky MS1.
Ooh.
Only Gus can call you that. It's his secret
name for you. Yeah.
Mr.
I will-
Funky MS1, is that what you said?
Yeah, Mr. Funky MS1. MF MS1.
MF. Yeah, we had the synth on MF. You know what they say. I'm not sure if this is a PG-13 stream.
It is.
Toto Robin knows what's up.
Yes. No,
And-
we're full, like, I censor
But again-
myself just because I sometimes do that to myself, but we're full spectrum offensive language here.
Offensive, graphic, and ultra violent.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
like Toto
Gory.
Robin and the Swords. Yeah.
Very gory. It gets very gory here. Oh my god! What the fuck? Oh my god! Obama's Weed
Ooh.
Man, a gift sub to Chippy Flip. That's
That's
so awesome. Thank you so much. That is so generous.
MS1 funky bass.
Talking about the SH101 by Roland,
Uh-huh.
Cake Flaps, another streamer who we have in the Golden Shrimp Guild,
Oh yeah?
is the master of the SH101. He has an original Roland from the
Ooh.
80s, and he has been streaming recently sometimes, and I think he's from California or so.
Oh cool. I just followed them.
Total funk vibes. Absolutely
This is
great.
like a super shout out follow stream. Like we
Yeah.
have dropped everyone's name in this stream. Like
That's true, Toto. That's true.
yes, we brought up the entire robot too. That's so funny.
Yeah. Mr. Funk himself. I mean, he plays fretless bass. I think the bass is actually his main instrument, and if you see the stream, it's so funky, so much 80s funk.
Yes. Okay, his next stream is in 5 days. At 9 p.m.
You got me
Tuesday.
wanting to play some funk.
Yeah, Gus. So Gus's like first instrument is jazz, and I would say like his legacy is, from his family is funk, jazz, funk, bass.
My dad played funk bass
So the funk is in the blood.
in the 70s. Yeah, he
Ooh.
played like in hotel bands and played all that like funk from the 70s. Average White Band and Wild
So that's
Cherry.
cool. I don't always. I'm still kind of learning, right? Like as I watch Synthon and then I watch the replay streams and getting to kind of put everybody's style with who they are and like what they do regularly versus what they're doing for Synthon. It's a lot to take in, so I'm still learning. So I appreciate the help in guiding us to like what everyone's doing. Very
I mean,
Boba Fett of you.
some people call me the Fest Pimp because I'm getting all the people to play at Synthon.
I mean, some people call that like a booking agent, but you could call it a fest pimp.
I
Yeah.
like that. Fest
I mean,
Pimp.
We were
Where is
talking
your
about
like
funk.
fur coat and stuff? Like you need
Yeah,
you
I
need a
mean
vibe.
the fur coat of the current times is the Adidas trekking jacket. So
Mm.
please show some respect.
I bow down. Oh my god. Okay, wow, we've learned a lot. I see Entire Robot has amazing, lot of VODs up. So, a lot of fun you can have there checking out all that. Electronic jazz funk. Electronic jazz funk. I mean, here's that thing we talked a lot about genres and stuff. It's like, when I see that, I know what that means and I'm curious about it, but I don't necessarily know what I'm going to hear.
It's going to be great.
But I know that those words make me go, yes.
Well,
And the visual of the keyboards, I'm like, yes, bring me to that realm.
and then there's the other layer that we trust Mr. X's opinion.
That's true. That's the thing, right? Like, you're not just the fest pimp. It's that people trust you. You've built a reputation that if you bring somebody in, they actually are going to be, they're going to show up and do it and be interesting.
I do trust your opinion, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's hand-selected, absolutely top-notch people that I'm introducing to Synthon, so I have a reputation to lose.
Exactly. Exactly. You've got to take that very seriously. It's quite the responsibility, the burden, if you will. I don't know why I want to figure out some Star Wars character that parallels, but I can't think of one right now.
Yeah, I'm like the Emperor, but much more positive. But then again, much more negative because I'm German. But okay.
We might want to be careful with that reference.
It sounds like cybernetics.
We did. I was going to say that. Something we talked about earlier made me think of cybernetics, but I think I'm just losing it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got Sid Heresy to play for 6 or 7 hours at the last Synthon because
no way.
I asked him, Sid, could you please cover up a very large slot or a very large empty slot, basically?
No way.
And he did it.
I had no idea. 7.5 hours, Sid?
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know you were still here. That's amazing. Yeah. I love how people will be here and like lurking and then they pop out and you're like, what? You've been here this whole time. Yeah. 7.5 hours. I sorry, there was a chunk of time during Synthon of 7.5 hours where no one was booked.
I would not. Yeah. By the way, that's not my specialty.
Don't ever ask me to do that.
Like, I am terrible at playing more than I'm asked. Like, it's amazing how all of a sudden, like, I hit that, like, hour that we've discussed, and, like, all of a sudden I'm like, who am I again?
I know, like an extra
What's my
hour?
name?
What?
Like,
oh my God.
Sukla, what do I play again? Like, yeah, it just shuts off like a robot, like an android, like immediately. So like,
wait, not only was it 7.5 hours, it was the middle of the night. The middle of the night.
Yeah, Barukla.
Are you serious? Sid, you once again proving that you are the synth hero we all declared you to be at the beginning of this stream. That's insane that you did that. See, I always figured, those slots, I don't even look at them. Those are for people in the other time zones where that makes sense for them, right? Like, I don't even try to do the math on what that would be. But I just assume, that's people in Australia and Singapore and who knows where that are playing those slots. But it was Sid this whole time.
I mean, that's why they don't have daylight savings in Arizona, because they know if Sid streams, it doesn't take an end. It just continues. It goes on forever. Oh my God.
I just have to point out that Sid said he's been in and out of our stream tonight because his cat puked and he's cleaning up, and I think that's hilarious. And just reminding me that I don't want a cat. Oh my God, this is crazy. You had fun. Played some guitar. Yep. Okay, repatched. But seriously, like, you stayed up through the night to do Synthon?
I mean, one time Sid played a stream for 28 hours or even longer. Yeah, I think it was longer than
like
34
the stream we're doing right now is the longest stream I've ever done. The current stream we're in at this current moment is the
I-
longest I've
I-
ever streamed.
I remember Sid's longest 36 hours yet, because I went to bed twice and he was
Oh my
streaming all the
God.
He went to
time.
bed twice.
It
Holy
was so
shit.
amazing.
Yeah, the fact that the chat is involved is keeping us going, obviously. But
Yeah.
like, I'm imagining like 36 hours, you're stopping to, I don't know, like take a long pee. You're, leaving the patch running while you're like, someone's at the door. You got to eat lunch.
I'm kind of
Like,
mad
what's-
that you disclosed that because I feel like they're gonna make us keep going.
I know.
You-
I can always just stop. I can turn this off at any time,
You
kids.
showed
Kids,
your
I can turn this car around, okay?
you showed your cards and now they're gonna be like
No.
longest stream.
I
eh?
think it is, right? I don't think we've ever gone more than 2 hours.
All of a sudden they're gonna start bringing up like cooking. They're
I
gonna
think
be-
I think when we did we streamed 2001: A Space Odyssey, and that movie is 2.5 hours. So like that pushed us over the edge. So that was probably one of our longer ones.
Yeah.
You got pretty wasted toward the end, Sid. I'm not surprised. I would be. 36 hours. Holy shit.
I still remember that Sid got out VCV rec and had some kind of super eerie and somehow hypnotizing patch
Oh my god.
and started to fall asleep during listening to the patch. It was so amazing to watch this, because
Just watch Sid
He-
fall asleep to his
I
own
would
patch.
definitely do that.
yeah, he fell asleep, and then it wasn't me, but somebody triggered the dub horn, the one that he has on stream, so that he woke up like, oh yeah, I'm still streaming.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was a completely different stream where you accidentally streamed for 24 hours because you fell asleep to the patch. These are epic stories, by the way.
Yeah,
This
I mean,
is
he starts
Sid
with
Hersey's
12-hour streams, and then all of a sudden it's 1 day, and then it's 2 days or so. We're still waiting for the Sid Heresy week
Oh my
just
god.
7 days
Just
of-
nonstop.
streaming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh my god.
He's a legend. Sid
Yeah.
Hersey.
A living legend. Well, that's insane. That's not what we're doing here tonight. I'm gonna pull the plug.
I mean, just saying, we have Sid Heresy in chat, we have Toto Robin, we have Ditbox, we have
I know, we have
Cat,
everyone's attention.
all
love it.
the stars. I mean, the chat is the real
stars-
star today.
The chat was the real star. I have to say, as much as we loved having you on as our synth friend, it's really the chat that's the star of the show.
I keep seeing these people all recognizing each other.
Oh no. Oh my god. That's from Invasion of Body Snatchers. Another reference.
I just think it
Where
was
are the
fun
stars?
to drop it there without explaining it.
Okay,
Like,
fine.
you can drop my reference if you.
I was
can
just
explain
gonna
my
say,
reference.
we are watching right, because tomorrow is Ambient Fam, and then Saturday is Sci-Fi Movie Night,
Yeah.
and we are watching Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Oh
Ooh.
no, we're getting a spammer. We're getting
Spit,
spammed!
spit,
Danielle, are you
spit,
still here?
spit,
I don't even
spit,
know.
Spam.
Next Synthon will be special for me. I will celebrate my 1 year anniversary. My 1 year on Gunman. Oh my god, Didbox, that's so amazing.
Spam.
Congrats.
Spam.
Spam. Didbox, that's congrats on the 500 followers. I think you're gonna get there.
Did box.
Congrats on the 1 year on Twitch, 1 year in Golden Shrimp Guild. Oh my god, Rescular 3D, welcome in. Heavy breathing.
Scalzi P is entering chat.
Time to get famous, Toto. Let's do it. Asking Toto to mod. Don't do it.
Scoot.
That Santa Claus movie is great. I'm so excited to watch a sci-fi Christmas movie on stream. I think that's gonna be hilarious. Oh my god, Skullsy, we're still going. I don't know why. We just can't stop. I keep saying that I'm gonna leave and I haven't.
I'm letting you say goodbye tonight, and that's why it's gone so long.
This is what's going on. This is what we talk about every stream. He likes to do the Irish goodbye where he'll just like leave the room.
We would have been done by 7:00.
He does this. He'll just leave the room when we're streaming. I'm not kidding. It happens.
And not in a dickheaded sort of way, like in a like, smooth.
I will just continue to say
way.
goodbye. Like I will just continue to say that I'm saying goodbye, but we'll just keep. It will never. There's no end to it. It requires like, just someone turning the lights out, or Gus like pulling me out. You know, like there's no.
It's really hard to be.
There's no internal motivation to ever end anything that I'm doing.
I mean, I actually thought that the Irish goodbye was like Gus jumping like the leprechaun and then taking his head and jumping out of the scene or something like this. I'm not sure about that.
Pretty much.
No, you hang up, Skulzy. I know. I can't. I don't know how. It was also recently featured in the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Oh my god, I've been planning to watch that too, Obama Sweet Man. Oh, I'm glad. I feel so seen, BJP Cat. The Irish goodbye is so effective and efficient. I know. Here's the thing. Like I said, IRL, when we used to go out in the world, we had that Irish goodbye down. I loved it. It was like a game. You just left and no one knew that you left. And then everyone talks about if you're still there or not. It's the best.
I would just cruise by Jacqueline talking to whoever she was talking to or what have you and be like, don't say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say, don't say goodbye.
He would pass me, say goodbye and just leave.
And then I would leave. Like, and
so
if
I
she
would have to
followed
leave
me
because
out,
he had the car keys or whatever, you know.
Well, you didn't have.
Wait, Mr. X, are you gonna lurk in your own stream that you're doing with us right now?
That's basically the Irish goodbye of Twitch, just typing lurk and then suddenly disappearing out of chat.
I want you to just like scoot away.
Yeah, I
Thank you for teaching me that. Now I know.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Like basically turning the chair and
the German
slowly drifting out of the screen.
And then the lights slowly go out.
The lights slowly go out. And then
yeah, I can't reach the switch from here, but that's not throwing the bottles. I had this some days ago that the water bottle broke down and flooded my studio. That's not good. Yeah, it was dangerous, but nothing happened except for the bottle breaking, of course.
Okay, that's good then. That's good then. I appreciate the Princess Bride emote, Skullzy P.
Actually, Skullzy is the Princess Bride, but that's too much information.
Whoa. Is that what the P stands for?
You don't want to know what the P really stands for.
What does the P stand for, Skullzy?
That there is a non-public area in the Doom Fam Discord, and yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, right. I see. I forget. You guys have the whole Doom Fam.
If you ever have Skullzy as your Synth Friends interview partner, don't ask about flutes and don't ask about electrical tape.
Those are very specific things.
Yeah. I mean, Skullzy, you want this, so please.
Oh my god. What is happening?
Yeah. Sid is distracting, and that's the right thing to do.
Found the clip of you dozing out. Oh my god. Of course, Mr. X was the one that clipped it. What are the chances? Oh my god. Oh, Sid, are you getting an ad right now? Really? I feel like we're outside of time and there shouldn't be any ads at this point. Okay. What is this? You, me, and
you're like ads.
I know. I'm always like, what are these mysterious ads? I'm not doing anything. I have to click on this, but I don't want it to start the clip because I don't want to hear it, but I just want to open it so I can click on it later. Or maybe I'll just keep it muted. So literally this is a clip of you
like dozing
on this like 24-hour stream.
That's the eerie VCV patch I was talking about.
Yes, you talked about this earlier. I'm watching it right now.
It's like, hey, let me see if I can patch something up.
So I see him, he's kind of like scooting around on stuff. But then his eyes are starting to close. And the mouse isn't moving anymore. Oh my god. Yep, his eyes are closed. Oh, there he goes. Yep. But he's sitting completely upright in the chair. Oh my god. And then oh okay, he's dozing in and out, but then a dub horn. Somebody did like a thing from the chat that woke him up. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sid, they are just watching the clip that you posted, the classic.
Sorry for
clip.
the ads. Oh, we were just watching it. It was so funny. So I imagine that went on and like for a while. Yes, that's what I said. I noticed. I was like, wait, nothing's happening on the screen anymore. His eyes are closed. And then the horn.
But the fun fact
Isn't
about
that so ironic though that he missed his own joke?
the fun fact about the story of Sid basically streaming for so long, I can't remember if it was the 24-hour stream or the 36 one, the longest stream anybody from the Shrimp Guild has ever streamed. And Sid, I think I can say this now, that as soon as he raided somebody else, he passed out right in front of the computer and slept for like 2 or 3 hours on the floor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sid.
While the stream was going?
No, while he just raided and stopped the stream.
He had just raided and he just handed it off.
Oh my god.
As if his life depended on it. Sounds like.
Park Zombie. Would have to be. Like, if it was for charity, that totally makes sense. And I would try to do that. But I feel like I would talk myself out of it just thinking about planning it. It would have to be something where I thought I was going to do an hour or two and then it just kept going.
This is how it usually happens.
That sounds like my hell.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yes.
Actually, it's like I don't
we're still here.
I think Sid was just planning to stream for 12 hours and then it just went on.
Oh my god. Because once you go 12, I mean, 36 is like nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I still plan my 6-hour special for 1,000 followers, but I have to find a day where no raid train happens. And that's a difficult part nowadays.
It's becoming a difficult because you do the Doom Fam on Wednesday, and then there's Techno Thursday, and there's Ambient Fam Fridays, and then there's
Techno
Synthons.
Thursday not so much, because I realized we have so many people from the Shrimp Guild who play techno, of course, so that I proposed the idea, why not give the spot to somebody from the Shrimp Guild, changing every week, so that basically I could play once a month.
Oh,
and
okay.
what I did is that I started playing on Tuesdays for the Doom Fam, Wednesdays for the Doom Fam, and most of the time Friday, Saturday, or Sunday are raid train days. So that I'm really struggling to find a day where I stream without any raid train or so happening. And that's why getting the 6-hour live special to happen is a bit difficult.
Exactly.
Also because I'm still working out where to put the snacks and the drinks and all the stuff I need to survive the 6 hours.
Right, exactly. I feel like the thinking and the planning of it would take me out of it and make me feel too anxious about it. I'd have to really work myself up for that. It's probably better not to think about it and just like start doing it and just like improvise.
Just go for it.
You've naps during some of your extended streams before, VJ PCAT? I that was something we've talked about too, is that like I love the raid trains are like everything. Like the community and everything is what it's all about. It's like all I care about. It's like the most important thing. But then sometimes you're like, yeah, if I wanted to go longer, that doesn't really fit into the puzzle of all of these different things that I'm doing. So yeah, I totally feel you on that. Yeah, we've talked about just like setting up like generative patches and just leaving them on for hours while we're not here.
It'd be fun.
But it's sort of like, I guess if you wanted to like do a long stream just to do it, but like I feel like the whole point is that like you're interacting with people, so it's like if I just did that would defeat the whole point.
You could just turn the camera on and do that and put it on YouTube.
Yeah. Home Alone Buchla edition. Yes. Mr. X, You put that in the chat, but you could have just said it.
Sometimes writing it down in chat is more effective.
It is. I see what you mean.
I think that he's become delirious and forgot that he was actually
On
participating
the
on the
stream.
stream, and he was just chatting as normal.
Yeah, I mean, I could say what Sid usually says. I'm glad that we're filming from the waist up, but
I know people always say that. They're like, "Are you wearing pants?" I'm like, "Of course I'm wearing pants." Do you know how many times I have thought I was like good to go and then realized like I got up and then you could see something? Like you just always have to pretend like everyone could see everything. Because you will inevitably do something that exposes
that's why
yourself.
all of us are sitting down.
Yes. I know. Sitting down is one of my favorite parts about streaming. It's a sitting
Although,
down
fun fact,
activity.
usually when I stream, I never sit down. It's actually
That's true.
strange.
That's true.
I don't
actually,
either.
when we stream music,
play, we don't.
always stand up because it's like again, I'm always.
It's an
sitting down,
energy
it's,
thing.
It's nice to be standing.
Like I want to
Top down,
feel
Cam.
active in my brain, so therefore I want to be active in my body.
It's just a nice excuse to be up and about. I like it.
Oh, we're having the cod piece and no pants discussion now.
I know. It's a
Ooh.
very calming discussion that happens.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it's
don't know
late.
why.
It's fair enough.
We're in the prime time, post prime time, so things are
Yeah.
getting a little more adult. But
Scalzi P's favorite part of the day.
spicy
Yeah.
chat, exactly.
Spicy is the nice way to put it. You
I
don't know what's going on behind the scenes of the Doom Fam Discord.
Oh my god, I know you keep bringing that up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I guess that's why we're not Doom Fam people. Because we're a little too silly, as we like to say.
Roscular 3D, hello.
Hello.
We're silly.
Say hello right away. I know. I feel like being part of this community has made me a lot more bold on Twitch as a user. You know, like I'll jump in a chat and like just start like setting the tone and like being helpful or whatever, like way more than I would have otherwise. The spicy must flow. Mr. X, it's you. Every time I read something that I want to laugh at, it's you.
Yeah.
And you're sitting right here.
It's you.
I mean, I always say that when I say I have a thing for bad puns, I mean it. And that's what
And they must be
Superbooth will
written.
also be. They must be written, but they also work in a very practical way sometimes. I mean, we had so much fun with those stupid, silly, but absolutely fantastic conversations in Berlin. Just because the bad puns suddenly work IRL as well.
Exactly.
And that's synth and modules or synthesizers and modules don't bring this, but the bad puns somehow add to the experience. The experience. Yeah.
The experience. X gonna give it to you.
Only
I know you lean into the DMX references.
Fun fact, I didn't know about this before streaming on Twitch. Because I think it was Call Sign Scarecrow, another shout out to a fellow streamer who always introduced me in his stream with X, gonna give it to you.
Oh, it was him
That's how things started.
Gotcha. So you heard it from there, and then you had to learn about what DMX was from that?
Because I basically don't listen to hip hop and rap at all.
Right, of course. I love the idea of you not having any reference point for DMX except for that, and then discovering him like way after he is relevant, and now he has sadly passed away.
Whoa!
I know, it really comes full circle. There was
sad.
A documentary on HBO that they did about him right before he passed.
Maybe he watched it and didn't like it, but no, let's not go there.
I know. We don't need to do dark humor is very tricky. You don't want to do that live. You don't want to test out your dark humor material on a live stream.
I mean, I sometimes say my humor is as dark as German history, but yeah.
I get it. I think that you're entitled to say that. I definitely think it could clear a room here, though. I'm sure not there.
Not taking these jokes too far.
Yeah,
But be
exactly.
prepared for Berlin, basically the place where it happened. But no, let's not go there.
It is. It's definitely a different tone for the conversation to go there. I think yes. I'm not following that so much of what's happening in the chat anymore. I think
Yeah,
what's
the chat.
happening is that Gus is playing, what's it called? Like chicken, I guess. Is like playing chicken with me to see how long I'm gonna have this go on before I finally have to stop the stream.
What do I
I
have
mean,
to do with anything?
chat is just shocked or embarrassed. At least that's the Wombra face I'm seeing there.
Oh no!
This one.
Oh, is that what that is? Used to say I have a. Okay, Rescular. We'll keep that in mind. I know. We could do this for probably 3 more hours. We could do a 36-hour stream, but we're not going to.
I mean,
That's what I say.
sometime you have to.
We might do a
your-
Synth Friends marathon where every couple hours another Synth friend joins us
Oh, nice.
for 36
But
hours.
remember your ambient fam stream, you have to power up the synthesizer sometime so
That's
that
true.
you can play, and then after playing your set, we just continue talking.
Yeah, that's true. We could splice in some music time as well. That would help with the time. I agree. Ambient fam hype. We want a marathon. Yes. Oh my god, Grace!
Ooh,
This stream is going on
Grace.
so long that Grace is hopping in. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Grace, this is the most unhinged Synth Friends ever, and it's been going on forever, and we just don't know. We don't know what to do at this point.
The
Just
Butt
letting
Stand Skull group is assembling in chat. There's only
Yeah.
one person missing, and that's another shout out. Morgan Grace TV.
There we go.
Where's my
I know. I
person?
love how everyone's like, "You guys are still going." I'm like, I don't know. It's all Mr. X.
Yeah,
Morgan Grace
it's
TV. Sweet.
like
You
my
can keep saying that
jams.
if you want.
I know.
Like my jams, endless noodling,
Endless
talking.
noodling. I know, because usually a lot of times, like, the other person that is on isn't a Twitch streamer, right? So they're like, "Wow, an hour of conversation. That was a lot. Look forward to, we'll see you around." And I'm always like, "Cool, that works for me." But man, I gotta watch out for all these Twitch streamers that we're gonna have on Synth Friends. They're gonna push me to my limits. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Grace, thank you for dropping all of the emotes of your own face. This face dances in my nightmares.
I mean,
all of Grace emotes.
One thing about this pink face of Grace, what a nice rhyme. It's actually going back to when she streamed playing the kalimba. So the original emote was not this moving face, but just the face. The kalimba goblin. Yes, I cut it out from a stream.
No
a
way.
screenshot. Yeah. I mean,
Holy
I'm
shit.
everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
You are everywhere and nowhere. Jesus.
Also, Grace, get well soon. Poor Grace has been suffering from a cold or an infection.
No, Grace. Grace, get better.
Oh, base Grace.
You have become base Grace.
And that means that the Tom Waits cover stream will happen soon because of her low
that'll
voice.
Be perfect. Call me Greg.
Greg.
Now, all of a sudden, I feel like this is what it would feel like if we did have like a stall for Synth Friends and like people are just popping by. Because if you sit somewhere long enough, you're going to run into everybody you know. Marathon. Well, that's what we were just talking about, Grace. We're like, this is a marathon for Synth Friends, obviously. It feels that way for me. I died about an hour ago. I'm not really even here. But the idea of doing like a Synth Friends marathon where every couple hours a different person comes on with us. But what would be cool is if every couple hours another like impersonators of us also came on. So we could swap ourselves out.
I mean, why not just do the whole thing? Like, what are you? Like,
tired?
can't handle it?
No, I just like the idea of like impersonators of us.
I could go till 8 o'clock in the morning right now.
You could?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll let you and Mr. X have at it.
Absolutely. We'll do a stare off.
Oh, he's got a different drink now. Is that water? That's just water.
Yeah, that's just, or maybe alcohol, but nobody knows.
No one would know.
Water.
He's only drinking water.
But that would be really gross because you just had a couple beers. To go from that to what I would assume is tequila would be.
You call that
vodka.
gross? It's traditional drinking in Europe. Yeah.
To go from beer to liquor, I thought that's never been sicker, right?
I don't know the rule.
Beer before liquor.
Actually,
never been sicker.
Traditional European drinking, not just Germany, but basically all over Europe, is that you have a beer, like a half liter or something like this, the big kegs, or not
Sure.
kegs, but the big glasses, and a shot, but not the single shots, but a double shot.
Oh, okay.
But of course, the effects after 4 rounds or 5 rounds of this are a bit too much.
So every time you have another beer, you have a shot also, a double shot.
That's what they did some years ago. Yeah.
Can confirm was definitely sicker. I always was taught that beer before liquor, never been sicker. Liquor before beer, you're in the clear.
I mean, we have wine, we have beer, and we have liquor, schnapps. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a
So
word
beer
in the USA.
and wine are in the same. When you say beer in this poem, it covers wine as well. Why, I don't know. But beer and wine are considered the same in this poem. And then everything else is liquor.
Those rules are for people that don't get too drunk to not remember them.
Yeah, you have to be sober enough to remember the rule and the rhyme. It's very hard. After a couple shots,
I've never been like,
it's very
I've never
hard.
been fucking trashed and been like, oh, liquor for me. Yeah.
Every time I've said it, it's already too late, and I just go either, oh, good, or oh, well. Like, you still say the rhyme, but whatever state you're in, you just
it's
respond
like,
to
sicker
it
for the beer.
Oh, well.
It's sicker after 1 p.m. I'm fine.
Just make up rules as you go.
Yeah.
I can't do shots, but I do like my whiskey neat, so I just sip on it instead of. If you say whiskey neat, then you can sip on it, but if you say shots, then you have to shoot them. So that's my little loophole, so that I can sip on my whiskey.
Tequila is actually considered I've heard like a softer liquor on you.
Softer.
Like it's better, like a really clean, light colored tequila is like better on your body.
So soft. Grace said it's so soft.
It's better on your body than a dark colored liquor. I've heard. Because I have a kidney thing.
I know, but I just like the soft is such a good word. It's such a good word for liquor.
Yeah.
Tequila.
It's softer on your body.
It's soft. It's the only alcohol that is a stimulant? What?
I believe it.
Is that true?
I like tequila.
Tequila.
I personally...
That was Mr. X again sneaking into the chats. Oh my god.
I personally really like tequila. I think it goes well with buclas.
100% agave. I mean, have you seen a real agave plant? They're amazing. What kind of tequila isn't 100% agave?
I mean, that is the question.
Exactly, Grace. We talked about this before, about how when you're a streamer, you're not just performing, you have to also deal with like chat. Oh no, he's dropping emotes.
Yeah, no stream where I'm at without being guile.
Yeah.
Of course.
We all use all your emotes all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I like that people embrace the guile. It's good that we start to talk about this as well. I mean, Sid Heresy knows the backstory. There's this one streamer from Germany also living not too far from where I live, but I don't know if he still lives there. Holgator was the name. He was a DJ streamer, or was streaming his DJ sets on Twitch, as well as IRL sets, and driving around in his car talking about different stuff. He's basically the twin of Sid Heresy, the German twin.
He's the
And-
German Sid Heresy.
Nah, Grace, not like this. No, we were friends, but sadly we never could meet. And he was the one who actually started to introduce the Guile to Twitch.
Wow.
And when I heard that he wanted to leave Twitch, I said, okay, we have to keep the Guile, and started to use these emotes, and I see people using them. Even Grace talking
Yes.
about Guile in her stream lately.
Yes. So what is Guile?
It's difficult to explain. You have to experience it. I mean, Guile is many things. It's like, you remember this scene from The Empire Strikes Back
Oh,
when
no.
Yoda is talking about the Force. It's like me
Yes.
talking about Guile.
Oh
Like-
no.
There's the stone is Guile, and the forest is Guile. The whole world can be Guile. Oh, it's yeah, actually difficult to explain.
What? Oh my god. Okay, Grace, we did spend most of the stream talking about how we're gonna go to Superbooth, so I do think that you have to come as well.
Yeah, of course, Grace.
Because now we need
please.
to know what Guile is.
Yeah.
Synth Friends IRL, exactly. That's next level, next dimension Synth Friends. It's analogous to the English word bad, meaning good after. Okay, Sid. Too much.
Sid says how it's really.
I don't trust
what it is
anything
about.
that Sid is saying.
It's true.
So this is something that started with a streamer who's no longer on Twitch. I was gonna say no longer with us, but I didn't mean that in the dead way. I meant it in the no longer with us on Twitch. I mean, if
But
you're
the
not
last-
streaming on Twitch, are you even alive?
Yeah, not in the metaverse, but well. But what Sid writes is correct.
Mm-hmm.
It means sexy, horny, but also cool, but also more than that. I mean, the fun thing is that people from all ages in Germany use Geil in their everyday language.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Say
yeah,
it in a
and even-
sentence, but use it. Say guile, but say an English sentence, but use guile.
And the fun fact that Ruscular writes, Jay Giles Band. Everybody knows Jay Giles Band, of course. And Jay Giles is from German heritage, so the name comes from the country itself.
Yes. The P stands for guile, of course. Of course. Now I get it. I know. I still
Yeah.
want a sentence, but that's okay. I'll wait. I'll wait 36 hours on this live stream if I have to.
I would. Why not?
It's like cool or bad. They don't really mean that. They're slang for something. Oh, I see what you mean. It's like when we say like I'm a bad bitch, but it's like that's actually a good thing. Was that a good example? Did I do a good job?
I mean, Geil is always good, so
This is what happens when we're going this long. I'm gonna start saying things like that.
I mean, it goes so far that Sid Heresy actually talked about Donny Benet, the bass player. Do you know him?
No, who's that?
I mean, Donny Benet is the Jesus of our times. I'm not exaggerating.
Sid, yes, exactly.
Sid will confirm.
A not good female dog. I hadn't thought of it that way.
And Sid was at a gig of Donny in Tucson or somewhere in the USA, close to where Sid. No, it wasn't where Sid lives, but Sid can tell more about this. Anyway, he met Donny Benet and talked to Donny about what Geil means. And then the famous video was recorded where Donny Benet told me to stay Guile, and that was the happiest moment of my life.
That's unreal. There's
And
so much
Tucson,
to this.
yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
know there
fun.
was so much to this. The Guile has had quite a journey. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, you really make a good point when you say, like, oh, translated. And it's like, well, if you translated what I just said literally, it doesn't mean what the translation really means. So. Oh, Sid. What a nice person. What a great story. What a funny idea, too, to pay for a cameo for that. Grace. Unhinged. Italian is just German with a twist. Oh, no.
It's true.
Oh, his persona is a love machine? I don't even know what that means, but it sounds like something I want. Lies. I agree, Grace. They're not the same language trees.
It all goes back to one proto-language. We all know this. Didn't you watch Prometheus?
The romantic. They're romantic. I did take Latin in high school.
Latin dance class.
I took Latin because it was supposed to help you with your SATs or something. But of course, it was the classic case of a teacher who'd been there a really long time who just told stories and played movies. Which was fine. But we didn't learn a whole lot of Latin. I'm not sure that it would have helped me anyway. Does it? I don't know. Okay, Donny Benet does 80s style synth wave and funk. Funk again! Guile has something to do with funk. There's a tie here. There's a thread to funk.
That's true. I mean, if you listen to the music of Herbie Hancock,
Okay.
that's the 70s music of him. That's what you would call Guile music.
Oh, we actually have some 70s Herbie Hancock on vinyl. So, we have the Guile in our households. We have some active Guile.
Active Guile, that's nice too.
Bass is his main instrument. Okay, we're seeing some themes here.
Definitely a theme for the night.
Grace is having her own argument about Germanic languages. Super Guile. Super Guile, extra, extra, extra Guile. She's upset. I get it. Grace, you are valid. I see you. I agree with you. She's carrying out. Oh my god. This is really lively. Exactly. I think, honestly, at this point that our mod has even left the stream. Because we never do this long of a stream. So there's no one to complain to.
You could promote Toto Robin to being a mod of your stream like basically everybody else.
That is a lot to assume and ask. Victor Wooten was my favorite bass player. Yes, I know a lot about Victor Wooten. Okay, it's done. Now that Grace and Toto are both going to get haircuts together, we can finally end this stream. Okay. Thank you everyone so much for being here. I would love for this chat to never end because it's the most fun ever and it's like all of my favorite people are here and it's really, really hard for me to do this, but I have to stop.
You could... Why not invite them all to our Zoom call so they can basically...
And you guys can turn it into a breakout room and I'm just going to leave. I mean, it's really hard for me to say no to a conversation about Bella Fleck and Victor Wooten, but at this point, it's just sort of like, if I don't stop now, I won't be able to recover in time to do our stream tomorrow.
I mean, it's not a breakout room, it would be a Guile out room.
It would be a Guile out room.
Guile.
Oh, yeah.
MIDI guitar, yes. I feel like I saw them at NAMM. I feel like they were at NAMM that one time we were there.
Oh yeah.
I think
There's always
Victor
some-
Wooten was definitely there.
There's always some kind of MIDI guitar that doesn't really work.
Grace, I've been trying to end this stream for almost 2 hours. I can't do it. I'm not capable. I don't have the tools.
I mean,
Because
the thing
exactly
is-
because I'm having so much fun, and I just don't normally stream this long, because my whole thing is like, if I set that boundary and we stick to like 2 hours or less every time we stream, then I'll be more likely to keep doing it and sticking to that regular schedule. But if we make ourselves like push and go long and like let it get out of control, I'll get like really burnt out, and then I like won't want to do it ever again. So that's sort of my system that I've set up for myself. But I was just saying to you the other day, I was like, we need to stream more, because now we kind of have a rhythm, and I want to expand, and I'm getting what I asked for.
Yeah, and the thing is that even if you stop streaming, they continue in the chat, so you can't get out of this. So
We
you
can't.
could basically keep
This is-
streaming. Yeah, we're trapped. We're trapped in this stream now.
I love it. I just love that everyone, like, I feel like everyone converged because we've been going so long that like people found us like after all their streams, and like everyone has shown up here, like we're like the after party.
Yeah, it's like going to get a drink after the bar closes.
Yeah. Or like after the comedy club or whatever.
Yeah.
After the synth show.
Mhm.
The
Speaking
after
of
party after-
drinks,
Yeah.
speaking of drinks,
Oh god.
I mean, I could get my third bottle of beer only if you get your next bottle of wine.
We can't do
Oh.
it, Mr. X. I can't do it. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm letting everyone down.
You could run a poll and let chat decide.
But I literally can't like even function at this point anymore. I don't think people understand what a baby I am. I am a very sleepy baby, and I like to sleep a lot, and that's just what it is. I love all this encouragement I'm getting. It's just gonna be another hour of me like forcing everyone to encourage me that I'm doing great.
For what?
While I try to say goodbye.
What are you doing great for, though?
Like, everyone's like, you're doing great. Set your boundaries. Do what you need. You're not letting anyone down. Like, all of the, like, encouragement.
I
Like,
know,
if I
but
was doing this,
is it-
like,
is it-
intentionally.
Is it like meta?
To try to get, yes, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh my god. Yeah, like, I've had a lot of wine at this point. So that's, like, part of it, too. It's like, I'm just feeling wacky. But this was really fun, and I guess I'm just used to our guests being very like, oh, this is all new to me, and like not wanting to go for very long.
Well, just not having any vested interest
Not having a vested interest.
in going, like, as a streamer. Like,
Right, like they don't have the culture.
like Mr. X is streaming right now. You know what I mean? Like, we're the same. It's like we're playing for the same team or whatever. You know, like we're doing what we normally
This
do.
is so meta.
Normally with Synth Friends, it's literally like, hey, will you please come on our Twitch
I
channel?
promise we won't bite. Yeah,
And,
I promise
and
Twitch
spend
is
some
okay.
time with us, and maybe like you'll get something out of it and glean something from the conversation.
Almost everybody says though that they're like surprised by how positive the experience is. So
I think
I
it's
know,
an
V-
amazing
Yeah.
experience.
that's what I'm noticing too, VJP Cat. Mr. X has literally just been like smirking in the background of this whole stream.
Yeah. It's like all I'm doing, just letting the sequences run and stand there and pretending to play. That's the trick.
Oh my god. Oh, okay.
I mean, that's what I do.
All right. So the question that I asked at approximately an hour and a half ago was, who do we want to raid?
Yeah, we've got all people in our
You're
stream,
making
so
this too democratic.
Everyone's in the stream, I
That's
know.
the issue.
Okay, Kid Pachoklo is streaming right now, so I think that's who we're gonna raid. That's the only way I can get out of this is by pressing some buttons. I know, this was amazing. Like, I had so much fun. It was just a very unexpected, like, family reunion kind of vibe. Like, I didn't know it was going to be this, that everyone was going to be around. Because I thought, you know, everyone's streaming themselves too, so. Oh my gosh, what a fun stream. I knew it would be. I knew it was going to be off the rails. I knew it was going to be wild. I knew we would have a blast. But, like, this just definitely exceeded our expectations.
I'm glad it did.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having me. Always a pleasure. Thanks to chat. All the stars are in the chat, actually. Of course, you two are the main stars.
Too much. Too much. Thank you for joining us. It really was off the chain, as Sid said. And all the new friends we had in the chat today. Toto, Robin, you rule! This was just so dope. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to press the start raid button.
Such a real good time.
Because then I still have another bunch of time to wait before I can even raid. Like, there's so much to this.
David01 just entered chat. We were talking about you, David.
Oh no! We were just
Cancel
talking about
the raid.
David.
Cancel the raid.
Cancel the raid.
Talk more. Yeah, we're just getting started, David. It was just the opening sequence.
Oh my god, David.
Yeah, we're just here.
It was insane. David, thank you for stopping through. We're about to raid into Kid Pachokllo, so you can hop on the raid train with us, because I'm sure that's something you'd want to join too.
Pachokllo.
Oh my god, this was insane. This was nuts. This was just crazy. So we are going to go check out Kid Pachokllo now, and we will be having another Synth Friends next Thursday, but tomorrow is Ambient Fam, where 4 p.m. Eastern is Mr. X, 5 p.m. Eastern is Toto Robin, and 6 p.m. is us. So hopefully you will join us on the Ambient Fam raid train tomorrow. We will see you all then, and we will see you in your own streams too, because this was just like a big old Synth Fam reunion, and I loved every second of it. So
absolutely
we'll see you
amazing.
next time,
Thank
everyone.
you so much, everybody.
Big old circle hang.
Thank you. Exactly. Thank you, everyone. Follow each other, love each other, and we'll see you around. Okay, we're rating. We're still in the Zoom with you, but
yeah.
This is so meta at this point. You're on so many of our screens. Hold on. Let me
X everywhere.
stop